Chapter 540. Baby, I'm back. Huang Lei held a bouquet of roses in his hand and purposely wore a shabby suit. Tonight, although he was attacking young ruining, but it was also his girlfriend's birthday. Huang Lei had a diamond ring in his pocket, which he bought with all his savings. Although he earned a lot of money by following Li Fan, he also spent a lot of money, and a lot of it was wasted by him. In order to be with the person he loved, Huang Lei did not hesitate to take out the last of his coffin money. Originally, Huang Lei did not want to get married, so the little money he saved was all for his coffin money. As for now, it should be called wife money. Baby? Huang Lei returned to his rented house, but his girlfriend was nowhere to be seen. Baby? Isn't she at home? Huang Lei looked around for his girlfriend's figure, and at this time, the lights in the rented house suddenly went out, and the entire house was pitch black. Blackout. Huang Lei subconsciously reached for his phone, but he did not know what sent his phone flying. A candlelight lit up, and a woman's figure stood under the flickering light. Baby? Is this a candlelight dinner for me? Huang Lei could not help but laugh. Baby is still the one with ideas, much more romantic than a rough person like me. Huang Lei, don't come over. Seeing that Huang Lei wanted to walk over, the woman asked coldly, let me ask you a question. Answer me honestly. Ask, I love you, so I won't hide anything. Huang Lei immediately patted his chest. You love me? Do you really love me? Of course I really love you. We've been together for so long. Is there a need to ask? Then why didn't you tell me that you attacked young ruining tonight? Huang Lei was very puzzled. Why do you want to know this? You're hiding something from me, so you don't really love me. The woman's voice became colder. You're just like other men, you're a liar. I'm really not. I don't work for Big Brother anymore. Huang Lei quickly explained. From today onwards, I plan to turn over a new leaf. I don't want to be a slacker anymore. I want to do something serious and work hard for our future. Then I'm sorry. There's no future between us. What did you say? Huang Lei was puzzled. Didn't you say yesterday that you wanted to be with me forever? That was before you lied to me. As soon as the woman finished speaking, the candlelight suddenly disappeared. The surroundings were plunged into darkness again. Baby? Baby, are you mad? Let me explain. Huang Lei quickly followed the direction of the voice and walked toward the woman. However, a woman's voice rang in his ears. Use your cheap life to do one last thing for me. After saying that, Huang Lei felt a sharp pain in his neck. His vision went black and he fainted. All men should end up like this. The sound slowly faded away. Li Fan put down his phone and shook his head at Lu Xinnan. Why don't I go and have a look? Xia Yi walked out from the side with her sword in her arms. She was wearing a white shirt, wide-legged pants, and a pair of sandals. Xia Yi's legs looked slender, and her figure was slim and beautiful. With the help of Lu Xinnan, she was attending a university in City A. She took advantage of the night break to come to the mansion to help Li Fan. No, senior sister, it's too dangerous. Li Fan waved his hand. You've just arrived in City A. You're not familiar with this place. But I want to share junior brother's burden, Xia Yi explained. I know. That's why senior sister Xia is here to help me. Li Fan looked at the dark night sky in front of him. I feel that they're coming. Huang Lei is an important chess piece for them. They'll definitely come out. Lu Xinnan comforted Li Fan. And Yang Ruining is also very important to them. I think they'll be here soon. While they were talking, there was a sudden roar of a car in the dark night. And it was not the sound of one car, but many cars. It was so late, and there were so many cars. They must be the vanguard. Soon, several trucks appeared in Li Fan's sight. They're here. They're here. The devil incarnate was very excited. He carried his 5-shot combo, looked into the distance, and licked his lips. The brick team won't be able to use it at such a distance. Lu Xinnan waved her hand and ordered Yufeng, Red Dragon Archer Cavalry, get ready. Yes, Yufeng was one of the few die-hard loyalists. He nodded and whistled. The 12 women in red robes next to him pulled out the compound bows on their backs. One by one, they knocked their arrows and aimed at the approaching cars. Watching from the side, Li Fan couldn't help but want to praise them. These Red Dragon Archer Cavalry were the trump card of the Red Dragon Society. They were also the elites trained by Lu Xinan after she took office. The 12 women were all good archers. They grew up with Lu Xinan and practiced archery every day and night. If they weren't here to serve as the Red Dragon Archer Cavalry, these 12 women could show off their skills in the Olympic archery competition. Firearms. Even a group like the Red Dragon Society would not be able to get their hands on them easily. Especially in a second-tier city like a city, carrying a gun was not a small crime. Ordinary 5-shot combo guns or inferior pistols could be obtained, but they were too conspicuous and dangerous. But bows and arrows were different. The compound bow was a sports equipment, and the Red Dragon Society could get as many as they wanted. Tires. Lu Xinan pointed with her finger. The 12 Red Dragon Archer Cavalry immediately pulled the bowstrings, and the bow was like a full moon. Bang, bang, bang. 12 vibrations sounded, and the air seemed to be torn apart. 12 arrows flew out, and each arrow hit the tires of a car. The trucks were forced to a halt, some even toppling over. But a truck rushed to the front, and at the same time, a few headlights on the roof lit up. On top of that car, a figure was tied up. Li Fan frowned. Shoot, aren't you Red Dragon Archer Cavalry good at shooting? A fat man sitting in a convertible pointed at the balcony of the club. If you have the guts, shoot this person to death. Come. Jiang Jun, are you stupid? Lu Xinan looked at the leader of the Wind Hall, who was also young ruining strategist, Brain, Jiang Jun, and said into the loudspeaker, My Red Dragon Archer Cavalry's archery skills are this bad? Hee, who said you are Red Dragon Archer Cavalry? Jiang Jun clapped his hands, and the door of the truck next to him immediately opened, and 40 thugs of the fire hall jumped out. These thugs each held a crossbow in their hand, and all of them aimed at Huang Lei, who was illuminated by the headlights. Chapter 541. Scarlet Dragon Archer Cavalry, huh? I have already thought of a way to deal with you. Jiang Jun sat on the carriage, holding a fan in his hand, fanning back and forth. Let's see which is faster, your arrows or my crossbow. Huang Lei being taken as a hostage was not out of Li Fan's expectation. He winked at Shay, who nodded and jumped silently from the battlement next to him. Jiang Jun, let's talk. Li Fan spoke. He did not use a loudspeaker. His voice was like a bell, clearly entering everyone's ears. Li Fan, I know you. Jiang Jun sat on the carriage, waving his fan, looking at the high and mighty Li Fan and sneered. Speak. What do you want to talk about? Hostage. Exchange hostage. Li Fan smiled. Although I feel that young Ruining's life is not worth the price of my brother, I am in a good mood today, so I will give you a discount. Let go of my brother, and I will return young Master Yang to you. Li Fan, do you think you are awesome? Jiang Jun looked at Li Fan indifferently. You always speak with a sense of mockery. Perhaps you think you are superior and different from everyone else, right? Oh? Li Fan looked at Jiang Jun. Then what about you? Do you think you have seen through me? Li Fan, I understand people like you. I know what you want to do. Jiang Jun sneered. People like you, with a bit of ability, you want to stand out from the crowd and stand out. You look down on everyone, thinking that you are the strongest, right? You mock our young master. Isn't it to raise your own status? Jiang Jun ridiculed in all sorts of ways, seemingly trying to provoke Li Fan. But Li Fan was unmoved, still sitting there, speaking slowly. Jiang Jun, you dog of a strategist, don't think I don't know what you are thinking. Li Fan's expression was indifferent. He was unmoved by Jiang Jun's words. Kagaboji, you don't need to hide anymore. Come out. As soon as Li Fan finished speaking, a man's figure appeared behind him. The man was short and wore a dark blue ninja outfit. He held a katana in his hand and stabbed towards Li Fan's neck. He tried to distract his attention and then let the Kaga Hashimoto complete the assassination. Jiang Jun's idea was pretty good. However, Li Fan was no ordinary expert. Even Yama Palace and the Brocade Guards couldn't do anything to him, let alone a mere ninja. Li Fan stretched out 2 fingers and flicked the Tai Dao. The Tai Dao in the Kaga Hashimoto's hand trembled violently, but an ominous glint flashed in his eyes. His wrist actually sank a bit, forcefully pressing down on Li Fan's finger. He held the Tai Dao in one hand and a short sickle in the other, and hooked it towards Li Fan's neck. Puff. Li Fan's elbow first hit the ninja's chest, defeating his attack and sending him flying. But cold sweat had already appeared on the back of Li Fan's head. What was going on with this ninja? What a strange strength. This ninja was different from the island experts he had met in the past. This ninja did not cultivate any true energy. However, his strength was astonishing. It was like a type of energy that could contend against his own true energy. Don't underestimate the heroes of the world, Li Fan had been reminding himself. But he did not expect to meet an unexpected expert today. Kaga Hashimoto was an expert of the Kaga sect. After he was sent flying by Li Fan, his body disappeared in the air. Bang, bang, bang. The devil incarnate grabbed the 5 shots combo and fired 3 shots in a row, all hitting the air. Umidba. Subhoodie stood on the side, his hands clasped together, muttering sutras. Looking at his appearance, he seemed to have some understanding of these ninjas. Damn it, where is this shorty hiding? The devil incarnate knew nothing about these things. He looked around for the figure of Kaga Hashimoto. Don't look, the other party is a Kaga ninja. If he wants to hide, we can't find him. Subhoodie reminded. He can completely hide his breath. Li Fan admitted Subhoodie's words. Even he could barely catch a little bit of the flow of the air. Since the last time Li Fan dealt with Yu Hang, he always spread his true energy around, like a protective layer. Although it was only 1 meter around his body, it was also a good precaution. Li Fan also used this method to consume and replenish his true energy to train himself. The Kaga sect cultivates the psychic art. Each of them has spiritual power. Benefactorly, you have to be careful. Subhoodie didn't know where he heard so much, but he told it to Li Fan. I got it. Although he didn't know what the hell spiritual power was, Li Fan was still vigilant of Kaga Hashimoto's movements. He let his true energy spread out quickly to prevent Kaga Hashimoto from harming Lu Shinan. More ninjas are coming up. Li Fan pointed to the east wall. Lu Shinan. Order the red dragon archers to shoot over there. Lu Shinan immediately snapped her fingers, and all of the scarlet dragon archers aimed their arrows at the eastern wall, drawing their bows and firing together. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. These arrows were shot into the air. The devil incarnate was a little surprised. What are they shooting at? But in the blink of an eye, several figures were shot out of the air. They screamed and fell from the wall. I'm really sorry. This road is blocked. Li Fan stood on the balcony with his hands behind his back and said slowly, Oh right, military advisor Jiang, what did you say just now? Say it again? Fatty Jiang was sitting below, his face turned green. It could be said that Kaga Hashimoto's assassination team had never failed before. But this time, a small team was actually shot to death. This team was trained with a lot of money. It was all money, all money. Fatty Jiang's heart ached. The most important thing was that he hadn't even saved them yet. Can we talk about our deal again? Li Fan looked at Fatty Jiang in the distance. Let my brother go. I won't say it again. Li Fan, I. Before Fatty Jiang finished speaking, Xiaoho's figure suddenly appeared on the truck. At the same time, he used Sui Han Sanyu. The sword shadow shot out 3 cold lights towards the chains on Huang Lei's body. But at this time, another woman's figure appeared in front of Xiaoho. Her 5 fingers hit the sword and immediately bounced it away. Snake fist? Xiaoho held her sword and flew back 3 to 4 meters before landing on the ground. The surrounding fire hall elites did not hesitate and immediately pulled the trigger. Crossbow arrows pierced through the night sky and shot towards Xiaoho. However, Xiaoho held her charming gentle sword and brandished it in front of her, creating a sword wall that bounced off the crossbow bolts that were shooting at her. Chapter 542. A little lass from Huashan dares to meddle in my Dragon Hall's business. That woman coldly says. Finishing, she steps on the front of the truck, lowers her body, and gently hooks Huang Lei's chin with one hand. Just like this man. He went against the Dragon Hall and is my sacrifice today. The moonlight shines on her body, projecting this woman's figure. When Li Fan and the devil's incarnation see this woman, their mouth uncontrollably widen. What the? This woman's figure is really good, and her appearance is also not bad. Goddess, a goddess with long and straight black hair. She's wearing a shape-shifting dress, which accentuates her figure even more. What the? Could it be that Lei is a pervert in his heart? The devil's incarnation subconsciously asks. It's possible. Li Fan nods his head. Right now, the matter is very clear. The spy beside Huang Lei is this woman. Xiaoya, why are you treating me like this? Huang Lei slowly opens his eyes and looks at this woman with a burst of sorrow in his heart. Huang Lei, I'm sorry, but I will never like a man like you. This viper-like woman sneers. I am the black snake of the Dragon Hall's 12 saints, carrying the Dragon Hall's limitless glory. How can a man like you be worthy of me? You. Huang Lei's heart aches. Thinking of the scenes when they got to know each other, Huang Lei's heart aches even more. It was not easy for me to fall in love with a woman, but the result is like this. Could it be that in this lifetime, I am destined to be alone and will never have a woman that I like appear? Motherfucker, you dare to play with my brother. This daddy will beat you to death. The devil's incarnation pulls out a pistol from Sun Qingqian's chest and half-squats on the balcony. One of his legs is propped up while his elbow is pressed on his knee, forming a triangle. At the same time, the devil's incarnation aims the gun at the Dragon Hall woman below as his finger presses on the trigger. What are you doing? Sun Qingqian hurriedly pulls back the devil's incarnation. This daddy wants to beat him to death. The devil's incarnation roars. Are you stupid? My Colt can't hit that far. Sun Qingqian reminded the devil incarnate that they were at least 100 meters away from the truck. This small pistol would never be able to shoot that far. Even if he could hit her, the bullet would be skewed a lot. There was no way to accurately hit the woman from Dragon Hall. Maybe it would even hurt Huang Lei. The shooting range of a handgun was incomparable to that of a master archer. No matter how accurate the devil incarnate's marksmanship was, it was impossible for him to hit the Dragon Hall's woman with one shot. What's more, the Dragon Hall woman was well-versed in martial arts. Why would she be afraid of a small pistol? Tofu, take this. Li Fan took a rifle from Lu Xinan and threw it to the devil incarnate. The devil incarnate reached out and caught it. It was a Type 38 rifle from Japan's World War II era. It felt warm and smooth to the touch, and one could tell that it was well maintained. The devil incarnate pulled the bolt, and the gun's feedback made him secretly happy. Good stuff. Where did you get it? My grandfather got it when he was fighting the Japanese. Lu Xinan said, I've been taking care of it. Now you can use it. Okay. The devil incarnate was very happy. This thing, if it was 100 meters away, it would definitely hit wherever he pointed. When he was in the army, he was most proficient in sniping. The devil incarnate roughly measured the wind speed, then stabilized the gun and aimed at the Dragon Hall woman below. No hurry. Li Fan pressed down on his spear and spoke to Xia Ho first. Senior sister Xia, it's been hard on you. Come back. Okay. Xia Yi also knew that she was not this Dragon Hall woman's opponent. She immediately used her Qinggong and jumped back to the balcony. Li Fan, how do you want to play? Fatty Jiang asked. Not really, but I want to try my brother's marksmanship. Li Fan pointed at Fatty Jiang. Break his fan for me, it's really an eyesore. Pa. With a gunshot, the fan that Fatty Jiang used to show off was directly broken. This gun is really well trained. The devil incarnate laughed happily. Miss Lu, are you really going to give it to me? I'm giving it to you. Lu Xinan waved her hand. Use it well. It can be considered as not letting my grandfather down. Don't worry. I specialize in using this gun against the Japanese. After the devil incarnate finished speaking, he suddenly turned the muzzle and fired at the air beside him. Bang! A ninja who had been hiding for a long time suddenly knelt on the ground, clutching his bleeding chest. Hey, how did you find out? Sun Qingqian was a little surprised. Weren't these ninjas unable to see? I just felt that there was an enemy here, so I fired. I didn't expect it to really hit. Wah! The devil incarnate laughed so hard that his teeth came out. It seemed like he had found the feeling. Fatty Jiang was a little uncertain in his heart. His trump cards were actually useless. What the fuck was this? How could Li Fan have so many experts in his hands? Where did he find them? What are you afraid of? I'm still here. The Dragon Hall woman reminded him. Seeing her, Fatty Jiang's heart slightly calmed down. Han Xiaoya, this woman is one of the 12 saints of Dragon Hall, Black Snake. 12 saints of Dragon Hall, this is an absolutely powerful existence. With her as his backing, with the entire Dragon Hall as his backing, that Lu Xinan would not dare to do anything. Lei, I only want to hear one sentence from you. Li Fan stood in front of the balcony and loudly asked Huang Lei, what are you going to do with this woman? Huang Lei was stunned for a moment, not knowing how to answer Li Fan. Deal with me? Are you dreaming? Han Xiaoya crossed her arms and proudly stood on the roof of the car. Huang Lei, I'm asking you, how are you going to deal with this woman? Big brother, help me. Give her to me. Huang Lei finally spoke. Thank you, big brother. I understand. Li Fan nodded his head. I'll help you. Hee, you think too highly of yourself. Han Xiaoya stood there, rolled her eyes at Li Fan, then looked at Huang Lei, stretched out her leg, and lifted his face. I didn't hear you clearly. Say it again for me to hear. Xiaoya, go back. Huang Lei advised. This is the last chance I'm giving you. Hee, are you kidding me? You're giving me a chance? Han Xiaoya could not help but ridicule. Right now your life is in my hands. Do you know that? Fine. Huang Lei was completely in despair. He closed his eyes, and after a few seconds, he opened them again. Han Xiaoya, from now on, we're no longer friends. You men are really stupid. Han Xiaoya stretched out her slender hand. Looks like if I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know how painful it is. With that, Han Xiaoya's finger directly poked Huang Lei's throat, as if wanting to cut his throat. Chapter 543. Han Xiaoya originally wanted to break Huang Lei's throat to let Li Fan know that they are not to be trifled with, but she suddenly frowned and poked the side with her 5 fingers. Dang! A bullet was deflected. The muzzle of the Devil Incarnate's gun was still emitting black smoke. You dare! Han Xiaoya was furious. Someone actually dared to disturb her. She faced the Devil Incarnate and made a throat-slitting gesture. The Devil Incarnate chewed on a piece of gum and winked at Han Xiaoya. Courting death. Han Xiaoya was furious, but a man was already standing on top of the truck. With just a stomp of his foot, he flattened the front of the truck. The chains on Huang Lei also broke. Han Xiaoya jumped up, and when she was in the air, her eyes fell on Li Fan. This brat had actually silently traversed a distance of 100 meters in an instant and appeared in front of him just like that? I seem to have underestimated him a little. Good, then die. Han Xiaoya displayed the snake fist. Her whole body was like a poisonous snake. Her hands were like snake heads, repeatedly stabbing at Li Fan's vital points. Han Xiaoya's snake fist is indeed powerful. Li Fan felt as if he really saw 2 poisonous snakes, constantly attacking him. Golden Immortal Crane. Li Fan used the crane hand, slapping Han Xiaoya's snake fist to the side. You know Crane Fist? Han Xiaoya was surprised. Crane Fist is the nemesis of Snake Fist. Not only that, Li Fan used Black Tiger Emperor and Golden Immortal Crane at the same time. He used Tiger Fist with one hand and Crane Hand with the other. Tiger and Crane dual forms? Han Xiaoya was more and more surprised. This Tiger and Crane dual forms is a high-level fist technique in Xingyi Fist. How did this kid know it? Who did he learn it from? Han Xiaoya, your Dragon Hall's 12 saints are not much. Li Fan sneered. You actually don't even know 7 Heroes Fist? 7 Heroes Fist? Han Xiaoya seemed to recall something. The martial art ranked 10th in the Divine Arts Manual? Yes. How did you know? Who taught you that? I created it myself, idiot. Li Fan's Ursa Major Seal struck towards Han Xiaoya's chest, but Han Xiaoya's body shook, and she actually dodged Li Fan's palm wind at a tricky angle. Since it was the Serpentine Fist, it wasn't just a fist technique. Footwork was also very important. However, Li Fan had dealt with Yu Hang before, so he had some experience with some special Xingyi boxing styles. True Qi circulated around his body, allowing him to sense Han Xiaoya's presence. Every time Han Xiaoya attacked from a tricky angle, Li Fan was able to dodge it. Not bad. After several attacks failed to hit Li Fan, Han Xiaoya became serious. Since that's the case, I'll let you see what the real snake form fist is. Han Xiaoya seemed to adjust her breathing. and Li Fan suddenly felt that she seemed to be one with the surroundings, becoming even more elusive. The most powerful part of the snake form fist was that Han Xiaoya's body usually had no openings. She was like a statue, not moving at all. But when she attacked with her snake hand, it was as fast as lightning, aiming for his vital point. When he was dealing with Yu Hang, every time he used his leg, his shoulder would move. But fist techniques were the same. If a person wanted to attack, his shoulder would have some subtle movements. Through these movements, Li Fan could determine what the opponent was going to use next. In the past, it was common to see in the books that when two martial arts experts fought, one would fight with the other for a long time, then take 2 steps back and say, "You've lost. You've lost. I've already seen through your moves." What did they see through? This martial arts expert was not a prophet. What they saw through was the subtle movements of the opponent's shoulder before he attacked. If he could capture these movements, he would be able to take precautions before he made his move. Naturally, his opponent's attack would be ineffective against him, but this Han Xiaoya was different. Every time she attacked, her body did not have any subtle movements. This was a true expert, an external martial art that had reached the acme of perfection. You can't hide for long. Go die. Han Xiaoya continued to attack, her hands leaving after images. Li Fan dodged, and her hands stabbed a truck behind him, directly piercing through the iron sheet of the truck. When Han Xiaoya pulled out her hands, 2 large holes were left on the truck. Li Fan kept dodging, and Han Xiaoya's hand kept poking at the truck, making more holes in the truck. Pooh! Han Xiaoya's palm pierced through the truck's fuel tank. The truck's diesel immediately flowed out, and the smell was terrible. Coward! Do you only know how to hide? Han Xiaoya sneered. Weren't you bragging just now, saying that you're the creator of the 7-hero fist? What's wrong? Are you scared now? What's the rush? Li Fan laughed. I've already seen through your moves. Han Xiaoya attacked. Although her shoulders did not move, her eyes changed. Every time she attacked, Han Xiaoya's eyes would fall on her vitals. Although the change in her eyes was very small, it could not escape Li Fan's bullet time. His eyes were like a falcon's, filled with true qi, burning with a blue and white radiance. Nonsense! Do you think you can see through my snake form fist? Han Xiaoya had practiced martial arts for 15 years. Her speed doubled, and her hands pierced toward Li Fan's eyes. 7 Brilliance Fist. Snake Capture. With lightning speed, Li Fan stretched out his hands and grabbed Han Xiaoya's wrists. Han Xiaoya's expression changed. Snake Capture was a defensive counterattack. Li Fan pressed down on Han Xiaoya's wrists, and at the same time, his knee flew up and kicked Han Xiaoya's face. Bam! Han Xiaoya's face was disfigured. Blood flowed from her nose, and she flipped over and fell heavily on the ground. Although she was a little dizzy from the kick, Han Xiaoya instinctively jumped up and prepared to attack Li Fan again. Dear chase! However, Li Fan's foot slammed down like lightning and landed on Han Xiaoya's lower abdomen. Han Xiaoya, who was in the midst of doing a kip-up, was once again kicked to the ground. Bam! The ground caved in, and electric currents were still flowing on Han Xiaoya's body. Obviously, Li Fan's kick was not light. Han Xiaoya was a little stunned. She was an expert among the Dragon Hall's 12 sages, the successor of the Heaven Alliance's 12 sages. But now, she was actually beaten down by a stinking brat. Han Xiaoya did not even see Li Fan's kick clearly. Crane tap. Seeing that Han Xiaoya wanted to get up again, Li Fan used crane hand to poke her acupoints and injected true qi into her meridians, sealing her body. Li Fan kicked her, and she was kicked to the front of Huang Lei, where she was kneeling. Chapter 544. Han Xiaoya wanted to resist, but her meridians were all locked. She knelt there and looked at Huang Lei standing in front of her. Han Xiaoya was a little flustered. She could not see any reluctance in Huang Lei's eyes. Han Xiaoya, you owe me. Huang Lei pulled out a butterfly knife from behind him. Quick, save Han Xiaoya. Fatty Jiang was squeezed to death. Han Xiaoya was their last trump card, and she was also one of the 12 sages of the Dragon Hall. If anything happened to her, How could he save young Master Yang and explain it to the Dragon Hall? Damn it! Weren't the 12 sages very powerful? Although the 12 sages had different levels of martial arts, their reputation was like a tree's shadow. But a person's reputation was like a tree's shadow. The Black Snake of the 12 Saints of the Dragon Hall was actually such a noob. She had only exchanged a few moves with Li Fan, and she was defeated so quickly. What 12 sages? They must be bragging. But her life was indeed very important. Fatty Jiang ordered the brothers of the Fire Hall, and they immediately raised their crossbows and pulled the triggers at Li Fan. Dozens of crossbow bolts flew from all directions, heading straight for Li Fan and the rest. But how could this do anything to Li Fan? He stretched out his palm and used the Dragon Toad's ingestion of water on the truck beside him. Li Fan's current Dragon Toad's ingestion of water was even more ingenious. He patted the truck, and a strong suction force immediately appeared on the truck, immediately sucking all the crossbow bolts over. Ding ding dang dang. They hit the truck and were sucked into a ball. They stuck to the truck. But this suction force soon disappeared, and the crossbow bolts fell to the ground with a pitter-patter. Even so, it was frightening enough. Those elites of the Fire Hall widened their eyes. What was this? Was this magic? Impossible. How could there be magic in this world? These people could not believe their eyes. At this moment, Huang Lei had already taken out his butterfly knife and squatted in front of Han Xiaoya. What do you want to do? Han Xiaoya rolled her eyes and started to act pitiful again. Lazy. Have you forgotten about our relationship? Our vows of eternal love under the moonlight? Have you forgotten all about it? Huang Lei squatted on the ground and looked at the woman he once loved. Han Xiaoya, from today onwards, you and I will no longer be friends. With that, Huang Lei stabbed his left pinky with the butterfly knife, directly cutting off his left pinky. Li Fan quickly stepped forward and pressed on his acupuncture points to stop the bleeding. Big brother, for my sake today, let her go. Huang Lei said weakly, the next time we meet, you can do whatever you want with her. All right. Li Fan didn't say anything more. Although it was indeed difficult to capture Han Xiaoya alive, his brother's words were worth more than several of Han Xiaoya's lives. Thank you, big brother. Huang Lei was very grateful. Seeing his pale face, Li Fan couldn't help but sigh. All right, there's no need for us to talk about this. Li Fan looked back. Xia Yi obediently jumped over and caught Huang Lei, bringing him back to the balcony. At this moment on the balcony, the 12 Crimson Dragon archers drew their bows and arrows while the Devil Incarnate raised his Type 38 rifle and aimed it at the Fire Hall elites below. Cripple all the Fire Hall elites. With Lu Xinan's order, the 12 Crimson Dragon archers immediately drew their bows and shot. Arrows tore through the night sky and instantly fell from the sky. Each arrow pierced through the calf of a Fire Hall elite, causing them to kneel on the ground while wailing. Looking at his fallen brothers, Fatty Jiang's heart was about to break. These people were all elites that had been nurtured for a long time. Many of the territories of the Vanguard Army were fought for by them. But now, their legs were pierced while the Red Dragon Society wasn't even scratched. No. This is impossible. Fatty Jiang felt that his worldview had been impacted. How was this possible? The Vanguard Army had always been the strongest. How could the Red Dragon Society be a match for the Vanguard Army? No. Fatty Jiang started to tremble. Kiba Air finally couldn't take it anymore. He appeared from the void and slashed at Lu Xinan's neck. However, Li Fan was already prepared. Every time Kiba Air attacked, he would definitely appear from the void. Me. Tua. Buddha. At some point, Subhoodie had appeared behind Lu Xinan, using his forehead to block the Kaga Boji's Tachi. Dang! The katana in Kiba Air's hand actually broke. Subhoodie grabbed Kiba Air's shoulder with both hands and said without sadness or joy, Benefactor, have you forgotten about this little monk? With that said, Kiba Air pulled Subhoodie's body to the side and threw him to the ground. This fall wasn't light. Kiba Air's vision turned black. Li Fan just happened to appear beside Kiba Air. The reason why he stayed away from Lu Xinan was to fish this ninja out. Subhoodie really didn't disappoint Li Fan. He easily captured Kiba Air. Li Fan looked at Kiba Air who was lying there. Without hesitation, he directly punched at Kiba Air's head, preparing to smash Kiba Air's head in one move. This damned ninja came and went without a trace. He had an unknown spiritual power, and Li Fan couldn't figure it out either. Getting rid of him first was the way to go. Li Fan smashed the ninja's body with his fist, but the feeling was very strange. He took a closer look. My God, how is this a person? It's clearly a piece of wood that was broken. Substitution technique, Subhoodie explained. The ninja of the Kiba family is very powerful. Benefactor Lee, please be careful. Kiba, IGA, these were the two great ninja families of the island. However, IGA's reputation was even more illustrious. Compared to them, Kiba was more like a real shadow army, hiding in the shadow of IGA to survive. Their explosive power was far higher than IGA's. The emperor of the island once said that with Kiba, he could only sleep peacefully every night. This Kiba heir was obviously one of the best in the family. He used the substitution technique to escape the calamity, but no one knew where he escaped to. And at this moment, he was the only chance to turn the tables. The elites of the vanguard had been completely wiped out. Even if they were not crippled, they would have to lie in the hospital for a few days. While guarding against Kiba Air, Li Fan clapped his hands and got someone to push Young Ruining out. At this moment, Young Ruining was tied up on the bed. When the bed was lifted up, Young Ruining was tied up on it, and just like that, he met his dog-head advisor. Jiang Jun, save me, save me. Young Ruining had already lost his usual calmness. In his current situation, he probably wouldn't be able to calm down either. He was tied up on the bed, desperately begging for help from his advisor. Jiang Jun's eyes were red. Li Fan, Lu Xinan, let go of young Master Yang. What conditions do you have? State them. Chapter 545. Today, no matter what, Jiang Jun planned to save Young Ruining first. Young Ruining was the backbone of their vanguard. Without him, their vanguard would die sooner or later, no matter what the price. Seeing Jiang Jun's look of wanting to negotiate, Lu Xinan sat on the chair and finally spoke. This is interesting. Just now, we wanted to talk, but you guys didn't. Now that you guys lost, you want to talk again? Jiang Jun, aren't you being too optimistic? Then what do you want to do? There's no need to be so secretive. Just say it. Jiang Jun looked up at Lu Xinan and gritted his teeth. Although it was true that he was a military advisor and was very smart, and he had helped Young Ruining expand his territory, however, all of this was based on the fact that he had a good hand. Before coming, Jiang Jun had already thought it through. He had an open card, a hidden card, and a trump card in his hand. The open card was the elites of the Fire Hall, and the hidden card was Kagabaja and his assassination team. And the trump card was the expert of the 12 Saints of the Dragon Hall, Black Snake Han Xiaoya. In the end, these three cards were all sent flying. The elites of the Fire Hall were all crippled, and Kagabaja's assassins were all killed. He was the only one left, hiding in the dark and didn't dare to come out. Han Xiaoya of the 12 Saints was even worse. She was still kneeling there in a daze, as if she had suffered a serious mental blow. He didn't have a good card. How could he play? How could he continue playing this game with Lu Xinan? Admitting defeat was the only way out. Okay, then let's be honest and have a good talk. Just as Lu Xinan's voice fell, Young Ruining, who was tied up, shouted, Promise her anything. Young Master Yang, this is too ugly. Li Fan gently put his hand on Young Ruining's shoulder. How will your brothers look at you in the future? What does it have to do with me? I just want to live. Young Ruining said very straightforwardly, even if I have to exchange all of their lives, it's fine. As long as you let me go, I can give you anything. You're too cooperative. Lu Xinan couldn't help but roll her eyes. She had a headache thinking that her ex-fiancé was such a coward. Fortunately, he was quick-witted and did not choose to be with such a fellow. Otherwise, he would slap his own mouth every day. I'll cooperate. Okay? What else do you want? Young Ruining was on the verge of breaking down. This was the first time he had suffered such humiliation since he was young. One day, when the tiger returns to the mountain, he will definitely dye half the sky with blood. Young Ruining, General, listen up. Lu Shinan crossed her arms, stood there and arrogantly said, since you insist, I can't refuse. How about this? I have 3 conditions for you. Yang Ruining and Jiang Jun were almost angered to death. Who was forcing it? Weren't they being forced into a corner? Please speak. Jiang Jun suppressed his anger and politely invited Lu Shinan to speak. All right, this is the first condition. Your Yang Corporation must sell us 30% of your shares. This 50% of the shares was all of Yang Ruining's family's shares. Selling 30% to Lu Shinan was equivalent to losing their largest share. However, Lu Shinan did not kill the Yang family in one go. She still left them 20% to let them breathe. We still have to ask young Master Yang to decide. How could Fatty Jiang make this decision? He quickly shook his head and looked at his master with a questioning gaze. Good. We can sign the agreement now. As long as he could live, 30% of the shares was nothing. Yang Ruining did not have the slightest bit of refusal or hesitation and immediately agreed. All right, come, sign the agreement. Lu Shinan really did as she said. She really brought the agreement over and let Yu Feng let go of one of Yang Ruining's hands, so that he had the opportunity to sign and press his fingerprint. All right, since the first condition is agreed, we can talk about the next one. Seeing Yang Ruining sign the agreement, Lu Shinan nodded. From now on, disband the vanguard and expel the 4 great halls. From now on, in this city, there is only me, the Red Dragon Society. Yang Ruining was stunned for a moment. The vanguard was his foundation, especially the 4 great halls. He single-handedly cultivated them from scratch. But considering his current situation, Yang Ruining could only agree. Then why don't you announce it? Lu Shinan pointed down. Below, a group of Yang Ruining's men were all injured. They sat there, waiting for Yang Ruining to give them orders. From now on, I, Yang Ruining, announce that the vanguard and the 4 great halls are officially disbanded. Each of you, go to Parker to receive a pension. Young Master Yang, you really don't care about us? A fire hall elite looked at Yang Ruining with some despair in his eyes. Even if I die, I am willing to die for you, young Master Yang. We are all willing to die for young Master Yang. Although these elites' legs were crippled, none of them were cowards. Yang Ruining cursed. All of you shut up. Is your life more valuable than this young master's? All of you fucking shut up. If I tell you to disband, then disband. What's with all this nonsense? All of the elites lowered their heads and put down the hand crossbows that they had just picked up. Even Li Fan could not help but feel that it was a pity for them to follow such a cowardly master. However, Li Fan did not have any thoughts of incorporating these people. In the end, they are all hired thugs that were brainwashed and trained by the enemy. Keeping them by his side would be like raising a tiger and inviting calamity. All of you heard it. Your young Master Yang said that from now on, the vanguard is disbanded. Chapter 546. The Vanguard Army, the once prominent group in City A, disappeared overnight just like that. Yang Ruining also disappeared from a city. Rumor has it that he was locked up in Mansion 101 by Lu Shinan, the leader of the Red Dragon Society. But the police from the Public Security Bureau came to search several times. But they didn't find anything suspicious, nor did they find Yang Ruining. Without concrete evidence, they couldn't do anything to Lu Shinan. The Lu family was a big family in a city, and they also had Lu Shanlong, the leader of the army. Without evidence, no one dared to say anything to the Lu family. But Yang Qinya was not happy. His only son was locked up by the Lu family. How could this old man agree? Lu Shanlong, within 3 days, you must hand over my son. Lu Shanlong had been avoiding him, so Yang Qinya could only call him one by one. For the last time, the call finally went through, but Lu Shanlong was vague about it. Old Yang, what are you talking about? How could I lock up your son? I'm not a hooligan. Lu Shanlong said on the phone, your son can't stay idle for a day. He probably went to some country to chase after a girl. Besides, you're looking for your son. Why are you looking for me? I didn't give birth to your son. Why are you looking for me? Lu Shanlong, fuck you. Yang Qinya was old, and he was usually gentle, but at this moment, he couldn't help but curse, "Don't talk nonsense with me. Quickly hand over my son. Otherwise, even if I have to fight with my old bones, I won't let you go. If your son is missing, you should ask the police for him. Why are you looking for me? You're crazy. I'm only talking to you for the sake of our old friendship. Since you don't know what's good for you, then let's go our separate ways." Lu Shanlong hung up the phone. Yang Qinya called him several times in a row, but the line was busy. It seemed that he had been blacklisted by the other party. "Hall leader Dong, you heard everything." Yang Qinya could only ask for help from a man in front of him. This man looked to be only about 30 years old, wearing a Chinese tunic suit, looking somewhat simple and unadorned. Although this man was young, Yang Qinya, an old fox, had to be respectful when he saw him. His name was Dong Yi, and he was 35 years old. However, he was a branch master of the Dragon Hall. The 12 saints of the Dragon Hall were all under his command. This Dong Ye's background was not small. It was said that he was a descendant of Lu Jinshan. That was why his identity was so honorable. In the Dragon Hall, bloodlines were also very important. The 12 saints of the Dragon Hall treated him like a treasure. A sturdy man stood behind Dong Yi. He was at least 2 meters tall, and his body was as strong as an ox. This person was called Feng Xing, nicknamed Black Bull. He was Dong Ye's bodyguard and one of the 12 saints of the Dragon Hall. Dong Yi himself did not know any martial arts, but he was very smart. At such a young age, he was able to achieve the status of a branch master of the Dragon Hall. It was not just because of his bloodline. The Lu family is clearly going against the Dragon Hall. Yang Qinya almost cried and begged, "Hall Chief Dong, I beg you. You have to help me. Uncle Yang, please don't say that. I am your junior, and I am helping my elder to do something. How can you use the word beg?" Dong Yi put down the teacup in his hand. His tea skills were exquisite, and he was brewing a new cup of tea. "Come, Uncle Yang, calm down first and taste this new scented tea." "Hall Chief Dong, I don't have the mood to drink tea. When I think about my son's life and death in the Lu family, I have the thought of fighting them to the death." "Don't be impatient, Uncle Yang." Dong Yi gently patted Yang Qinya's leg and comforted him. "One more day, one less day. Young Master Yang's condition will not change. Moreover, I think the Lu family will not be so ruthless as to really kill young Master Yang. If they were to be so ruthless, they would not leave 20% of the shares for you." What Hall Chief Dong said makes sense, but You are confused because of your concern. Dong Yi drank a mouthful of hot tea and said unhurriedly, "This Lu family is challenging our Dragon Hall. The reason why they detained young Master Yang is probably because they are afraid of causing trouble. They really have a lot of guts. This Lu Xinan is simply out of control." Yang Qinya could not help but curse. "She has a pair of dog eyes. Not only does she not put me in her eyes, but she even doesn't put Dragon Hall in her eyes. This can't be blamed on her." Dong Yi very objectively said, "She is an ambitious woman. Since she has ambition, she naturally needs to get rid of the stumbling block. Our Dragon Hall's influence in a city is her stumbling block. This matter, I ask Hall Chief Dong to make the decision. What do you need?" Yang Qinya will do my best to get it." Yang Qinya clenched his fist. "Even if I have to use these old bones of mine, I will make their Lu family broken into pieces. I do need Uncle Yang's help, but there is no need to risk your life." Dong Yi said with a smile, "This Lu family thinks too highly of themselves. They think that with a bit of foundation, they can compete with Dragon Hall. They overestimate themselves. Dragon Hall is not something they can fight against. Uncle Yang, rest assured, since I have come to a city, naturally it is to deal with them." "Then when do we make our move?" Yang Qinya hurriedly asked. "No hurry, my people have not arrived yet." Dong Yi looked very calm. "When they arrive, this little red dragon society will naturally be razed to the ground." "Okay, I will listen to Hall Chief Dong." Yang Qinya can only rely on Dong Yi now. He understood the meaning behind Dong Ye's words. This organization, Dragon Hall, although has its own forces in every city, most of them are supported by others. For example, the 3 big meetings in a city are all related to Dragon Hall, but none of them are directly under Dragon Hall. If they want to mobilize their forces, Dragon Hall can only do it from the air. Tonight at Cat Ear Mountain, Uncle Yang, do you want to go with me to have a look? Dong Yi invited. Okay, okay, okay. Then I will have to trouble Hall Chief Dong. You can't say that. I am troubling Uncle Yang. Dong Yi clapped his hands. How about this? My chef made some lunch. His cooking skill is quite good. Please comment on it for me, Uncle Yang. Okay then. Although Yang Qinya has no appetite to eat, since Dong Yi said so, he has no choice but to go. After eating, Yang Qinya arranged a car and brought Dong Yi and his bodyguard Feng Xing to Cat Ear Mountain. Spring is green, and many people come to Cat Ear Mountain for an outing. But Yang Qinya and Dong Yi directly opened up a private area and walked in. This area belongs to the Yang family, and tourists are not allowed to enter. A high-class summer resort is being developed in the private territory. Many of the facilities inside are very luxurious. Obviously, it is not a place that ordinary people can afford to play. Dong Yi and the others walked to a place with a good view and looked up into the sky. A plane just happened to fly over their heads. Chapter 547. The plane flew past, and a few beautiful parachutes bloomed in the air like flowers. Seeing these parachutes, Dong Yi also revealed a smile. They're quite punctual. Yang Qinya was a little excited. A lion from the heavens. This was Dragon Hall's unique method. They would drop their elites into the city by dropping them in paratroopers. These paratroopers landed accurately in the area. Each of them carried a backpack containing military equipment. China's firearms control was very strict. Even Dragon Hall could not swagger around with firearms on their backs every day. Therefore, they bought firearms at the border and transported them by airdrop. This method had always been successful. That was why Dragon Hall's method of transportation was called paratroopers. A total of 30 Dragon Hall elites landed on the ground in paratroopers mode. They wore clean special combat suits, and each of them had a murderous look on their faces. One look, and one could tell that they were not good people. The leader was a man in a black special combat suit. He was well-built, had tan skin, and a buzz cut. He had an unruly look on his face. Hall Master. The tan man went forward and half-knelt in front of Dong Yi, bowing. Brother Jialua, there's no need to bow. You're too polite. Dong Yi knew how to conduct himself and immediately went forward to help him up. Yang Qinya muttered in his heart. Dong Yi was indeed powerful. Among the 12 saints of Dragon Hall, White Tiger Chen Jialua was the most arrogant. Even Dragon Hall's godfather could not control him. Usually, when they met, they would call him brother. In this Dragon Hall, the only person Chen Jialua respected and obeyed was the scholarly Dong Yi. It was not just him. Black Ox Feng Xing, who was always behind Dong Yi. This fellow trained in the iron skin technique. His true chi protected his body. In the pugilistic world, there were very few people who could break through his defense. He was known as the strongest shield of Dragon Hall, but he was not by Godfather's side. Instead, he was closely protecting Dong Yi. Dong Ye's position in their hearts was obvious. Hall Master, the 30 dragon blades have gathered. We are only waiting for Hall Master's orders. Chen Jialua cupped his fists at Dong Yi. The elites of Dragon Hall were called Dragon Blades. The 30 dragon blades stood there silently, waiting for Dong Ye's orders. Chen Jialua was also loyal. As long as Dong Yi gave the order, he would not hesitate to climb a mountain of swords or plunge into a sea of flames. Yang Qinya was also excited. With these people around, there was hope for his son to be saved. The Dragon Blade was the elite of the elite. The Dragon Hall also had connections in the military. Some of the high-ranking officers were big shots in the military. Therefore, every year, the Dragon Hall would select some talents and send them to some secret military strongholds for intensive training. However, the Dragon Hall did not take these benefits for nothing. At the same time, they also shouldered some special missions from the government. Some of the dirty work that was inconvenient for the government was handled by the Dragon Hall. Therefore, the Dragon Hall was almost equivalent to a black army secretly cultivated by the government, and the Dragon Blade was this dagger that stabbed people in the back. Each of them could take on 10 people. Dealing with a small red dragon society was a piece of cake. We have 2 goals for this operation. Dongyi stood there and stretched out 2 fingers. One is to rescue young Master Yang from Mansion 101. The other is to take this opportunity to eliminate 2 important figures of the Red Dragon Society. He took out 2 photos and showed them to Chen Jialua. One of them is called Lu Xinan, and the other is called Li Fan. Remember what they look like. I want them dead. Leave no one alive. Yes. Saying that, Dongyi turned to look at Yang Qinya and cupped his fists respectfully. Uncle Yang, please tell me about the information on Mansion 101. Okay, I won't hesitate. In a city, Yang Qinya was the local snake after all. Dongyi was a dragon that crossed the river. Without the help of a local snake like Yang Qinya, it would be difficult for them to find out the whereabouts of Li Fan and Lu Xinan. I've already sent people to find out. Yang Qinya said confidently, tonight at 6, Li Fan will be at Mansion 101 to help Lu Xinan hold a meeting with the upper echelons of the Red Dragon Society. This is the time for us to catch them all in one fell swoop. Okay, don't worry, Uncle Yang. Tonight, I will send them to their graves. Dongyi said confidently. It was as if Li Fan was not even worth mentioning in his eyes. It was the same for Lu Xinan. How could a small Red Dragon Society compete with the Dragon Hall? Dragonblade is on standby. Chen Jialua also took the initiative to volunteer to Dongyi. Hallmaster, let me handle this operation. Just wait for my good news. How can I do that? Dongyi waved his hand. Jialua, although you are brave, you are not good at strategy. If I send you alone, I'm afraid that you will suffer at the hands of that Lu Xinan. Our Dragonblade is the elite of the elite, the expert of the experts. Chen Jialua said unhappily. Even if Lu Xinan is a smart person, she will have to obediently accept her fate when she sees the Dragonblade. It's good to be confident, but don't be too arrogant. Arrogance will have the opposite effect. Dongyi reminded Chen Jialua. In short, I have made up my mind. Just do as I say. What's more, with Feng Xing by my side to protect me, how could anything happen to me? Okay, I will listen to your orders. Chen Jialua cupped his hands as if he was obedient. Uncle Yang, I have arranged everything on my side. The rest is up to you. Dongyi said to Yang Qinya. Well said, well said. I have already arranged everything. Yang Qinya led the group down the mountain from the back and arrived at a parking lot. In the parking lot, there was an inconspicuous tour bus. Heroes, I will have to trouble you to sit on the bus for now. Yang Qinya was very respectful to these people. They were the key to saving his son. Lu Xinan, your ambition is too big. You even dare to put my Yang family's son under house arrest? How lawless. Today, I will let you know what the price of provoking the Yang family and the Dragon Hall is. Yang Qinya gritted his teeth, as if he wanted to immediately kill Lu Xinan. Uncle Yang is too polite. When the brothers were training in the wild, their days were extremely hard. It is already very good that we have a bus to sit on. Dongyi politely thanked Yang Qinya. What do you plan to do next, Uncle Yang? Naturally, I will first arrange for all the heroes to have a meal. Yang Qinya hurriedly said, the best hotel in a city, there will be enough wine. Forget about the wine. It's right to eat your fill. Dongyi nodded. Then I will disturb Uncle Yang? Not at all. We are all family. Yang Qinya said respectfully. A violent storm was about to descend on a city. Chapter 548. City A was located in the northeast of Huaxia. Although there was also a rainy season here, it was very short. City A was often hit by heavy snow in winter. But in spring and summer, when the south was hit by typhoons, City A was very peaceful. However, there were always accidents. This time, the whole of Huaxia was hit by a huge typhoon. This typhoon was called Eve. It just swept through the south of Huaxia, then the central plains, and then the northeast. When Dragonblade invaded Mansion 101, it just happened to catch up with this typhoon. The whole City A was raining heavily. Because the street facilities had been in disrepair for years, many places had been flooded. Yang Qinya's bus was almost driven like a boat, dripping with water all the way to Mansion 101 on the outskirts. Mansion 101 was on a high terrain, so there was no threat of the flood. However, the pouring rain was like a leak from the sky, and no one knew when it would stop. Yang Qinya parked the bus in the backyard of Mansion 101. Dong Yi followed the soldiers of Dragonblade and got off the bus. Feng Xing stood firmly behind him and held an umbrella for him. What a heavy rain! Yang Qinya also stood in the rain, letting his assistant hold an umbrella for him, frowning at the terrible weather. This kind of weather is suitable for doing something big. Dong Ye's mentality was very good. It could be said that he was confident. He put his hands behind his back and walked to the high wall in the backyard. Let's go. It's time to work. Hall Master, sorry to offend you. Feng Xing picked up Dong Yi and jumped more than 2 meters high. He stepped on the wall again and climbed more than 2 meters. Then, he jumped over the top of the wall. Chun Jialua didn't hesitate. Without saying a word, he picked up Yang Qinya and jumped over, not caring whether he was comfortable or not. The members of Dragon Blade threw out their hook ropes and climbed over the top of the wall. But after climbing over, Yang Qinya was dumbfounded. On the lawn of Mansion 101, a group of people were holding large umbrellas and sitting under them. They were eating skewers and drinking beer, as if they were having a picnic. It was very enjoyable. The heavy rain seemed to have nothing to do with them. Yo, there's a guest. Come and eat some skewers. Li Fan grabbed a few mutton skewers and shouted at Dong Yi and the others. In such a torrential rain, his voice could be clearly transmitted to everyone's ears. It could be seen how high his skill was. Even Feng Xing and Chen Jialua could not help but frown slightly. I've been looking forward to the stars and the moon every day, and now you're finally here. It's so late. You must be starving. Come and eat. You can only work when you're full. Li Fan didn't have the slightest trace of nervousness on his face, which made Dong Yi even more cautious. Who does this brat think he is? Let me meet him. Dong Yi seemed to be implying something. Li Fan laughed. Whether there's a dragon or not, Hall Master Dong can come and see for himself. That's why I came here in the rain. Am I disturbing you? Not at all. It's a pleasure to have a friend come from afar. Li Fan took a bite of the meat skewer. Let me tell you, Hall Master Dong, sitting here with a few friends, eating skewers, drinking beer, and talking nonsense is the most exciting. If you come here too, I'll be able to chat even more happily. Escort Li, it's not very nice of you to scold me indirectly. Dong Yi sized up Li Fan a few more times. Besides, this is a banquet at Hongmen. I can go, but I'm afraid I won't be able to come back. How can that be? Hall Master Dong has so many powerful bodyguards. Do you think you're afraid of us, a bunch of hillbillies? Li Fan drank a big mouthful of cold beer. He didn't like German dark beer. He drank pure Harbin 1900. Although he didn't like alcohol, he usually drank this. It's always good to be careful. Dong Yi pointed at the grass between the two. Why don't we pick a spot in the middle and have a drink here? Chapter 549. Since Hallmaster Dong has said so, how can I spoil your mood? As Li Fan spoke, he kicked the table in front of him and at the same time pushed a large parasol out. The table and the parasol flew dozens of meters away and landed on the lawn between the two of them. At the same time, Li Fan held 2 chairs in his hands and chased after the parasol. He was practically hiding under the parasol as they came to the middle of the lawn together. He placed the 2 chairs down and extended his hand to invite Dong Yi. Neither Li Fan nor the table and chairs were stained with a single drop of rain. Hallmaster Dong, please. All right. Dong Yi nodded at Feng Xing. Feng Xing understood tacitly. He stretched out his hands and with a firm horse stance, he pushed his hallmaster's back. Dong Ye's body immediately slid out in a straight line and arrived in front of Li Fan, landing under the parasol. Because Feng Xing had used his qi to protect Dong Yi, not a single drop of rain fell on him. Come. Hallmaster Dong, please sit. On the table were roasted beef and mutton skewers, 2 kidney skewers, and 3 open bottles of beer. All of these were perfectly placed on the table, not spilling because of the table's movement. Not even a drop of beer spilled from the bottles. Escort Li is indeed a young and talented man. Dong Yi watched as Li Fan filled his glass and gently picked up the slightly cold glass while praising Li Fan. Among these people, you're probably the only one qualified to sit and drink with me. These words excluded even Lu Xinan. At the same time, there was a hidden meaning in his words. He was hinting that the current Red Dragon Society was under Lu Xinan's control on the surface, but Li Fan was actually controlling everything in the dark. Sai, what are you saying? I'm a warm-hearted person. Li Fan laughed heartily. This Lu Xinan asked for my help, so I eagerly came. In the Red Dragon Society, Miss Lu had the final say. I, Li Fan, am just here to join in the fun. Escort Li Shure is humble. Dong Yi held his glass and followed Li Fan's movements, clinking glasses with him. After the compliment, the two of them finished the wine in their glasses. Escort Li Shure is straightforward. Dong Yi looked at Li Fan, narrowed his eyes, and said with a smile, Hall Master Dong is the courageous one. Li Fan winked at Dong Yi. Aren't you afraid that I'll poison the wine? Escort Li is known as the Little Tyrant. Dong Yi did not doubt this at all. I don't believe that a man named Little Tyrant would use such a despicable method. You see, after Hall Chief Dong said that, even I feel embarrassed. There's no need for the two of us to be so polite. Why don't we just call each other by our names? Dong Yi was very regretful. If it weren't for our different standpoints, I really wish I could become sworn brothers with Escort Li. Oh no, Brother Li. Big Brother Dong really thinks highly of me. How can a small character like me climb up to Big Brother Dong's high branch? Li Fan began to lead the conversation back to the main topic. He had rambled too much. This Dong Yi was very shrewd. If you dawdled on him, he would go against you. His patience was too good. I just hope to be able to guard my own plot of land. As long as no one comes to disturb me, I'll be happy. It's a pity that this piece of land is not that easy to harvest. Dong Yi hinted. There are some places that don't belong to you. If you want to occupy it, you'll have to put in a lot of effort. Sometimes, you might even have to pay with your life. This is exactly what I want. Li Fan slammed the table and said excitedly, How many fights can there be in life? Brother Li, you're indeed young and full of vigor. Dong Ye's words had a hidden meaning. When you're at my age, you'll naturally know that some things are best left untouched. Otherwise, it won't just be for yourself, but for the people around you as well. It's good that there are no weaklings around me. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. If they're really infected with a bloody disaster, then they're unlucky. Brother Li's words are wrong. Although your parents have gone on a trip, they won't disappear, right? Yes, you're absolutely right. Li Fan clapped his hands. After all, we're brothers. We're thinking the same thing. Big Brother Dong is so concerned about my parents. I'm so touched. I'm never a person who does errands. I won't hesitate even if you're good. Tomorrow, I'll bring 2 caddies of pork knuckle to visit Big Brother's parents. I heard that they're now living in retirement in Sanya. Sanya is a good place. It's warm in winter and cool in summer. I've long wanted to visit it. Brother Li, chatting with you is really the right thing to do. Dong Yi was not annoyed. He looked at Li Fan again. I can't help but sigh. If only we weren't enemies. Maybe we could become bosom friends. Big Brother Dong, you said you're Lu Jinshan's descendant. Why don't you learn a few moves of the 9 Buddha Sutra? Li Fan rolled his eyes and suddenly changed the topic. What a pity. If I were you, I'd definitely learn this martial art thoroughly. Although martial art is good, it's only used to fight bravely. Dong Yi sighed. My ambition is indeed not here. My ambition is not here. That's really a pity. Li Fan couldn't help but sigh. If I could exchange a few moves with Big Brother Dong, how happy I'd be. Hearing you say that, I suddenly remembered that I still have a chapter of the 9 Buddha Sutra. If Brother Li is interested, why don't you take a look? Big Brother is really generous. These words shocked Li Fan. He was a bit confused about this Dong Yi. Dong Ye's thoughts were too deep. His style of speaking and acting was also very casual, making people unable to understand him. The 9 Buddha Sutra was a martial art world treasure. Any chapter could set off a reign of terror in Jianghu. Now Dong Yi actually wanted him to casually read it. Anyway, it's just to take a look. It doesn't matter. Not knowing whether Dong Ye's words were true or false, he waved his hand. These are all worldly possessions. There's no need to worry about it. Big Brother Dong is really open-minded. This one admires you. Li Fan cupped his hand. But since you're so free and easy, why do you want to run errands for Dragon Hall? Although the word run errands was vulgar, it very well indicated Dong Ye's identity. Hee, this word run errands is really good. Dong Ye also clapped his hands. A few years ago, I owed Dragon Hall's godfather a big favor. So, I want to stay here and run errands for him. So that's how it is. Li Fan nodded. That's really a pity. It seems like the two of us are destined to fight today. You and I, this is a friendship of a cup of wine. Let's drink this cup and leave it to fate. Dong Ye raised his cup. Good, this cup of wine it is. Cheers. Cheers. The two of them raised their cups at the same time and clinked. After drinking this cup of wine, Li Fan stretched out his hand. Big Brother Dong, please go back. From now on, we are mortal enemies. Chapter 550. At such a close distance, as long as Li Fan wanted to, he could kill Dong Ye with one hand. But this was against his principle. If a man didn't even have this principle, then he was no different from a woman. He said he would sit down and drink, and he meant it. Lu Xinan seemed to be a little anxious. This Li Fan actually let Dong Ye go. Who was Dong Ye? He was the mainstay of the Dragon Hall. When they were drinking just now, Li Fan really had 10,000 opportunities to kill him. After killing him, the 12 saints of the Dragon Hall would lose their mainstay, and it would only be a matter of time before he destroyed the Dragon Hall. Looking at Li Fan walking back, Lu Xinan angrily stomped her feet at him. Damn you! Why didn't you kill him just now? It was a great opportunity. Lu Xinan was so angry that she pouted, which made Li Fan laugh. Your hair is not long, and your knowledge is so short. Li Fan laughed. I, Li Fan, will defeat Dong Ye of the Dragon Hall fair and square. No matter what he does, I, Li Fan, will take it. Idiot. You are really stupid beyond redemption. It's you who don't understand. Li Fan stood there with his hands behind his back, looking at Dong Ye. At this time, Dong Ye was brought back to the dragon blade side by Feng Xing. They stood under the wall, leaning against it to block the wind and rain. Obviously, they were much worse off than the people hiding under the parasol, eating meat and drinking wine. Hall Leader Dong, are you okay? Did he do anything to you? Yang Qinya looked at Dong Ye worriedly. That Li Fan is just a street punk. He doesn't have any rules. Did he offend you? No, Uncle Yang, you worry too much. Dong Ye waved his hand. I was in a good mood just now, so I couldn't help but chat with him. Now, let's get down to business. With that, Dong Ye pointed forward. These Dragon Blade elites immediately took out MP5s from their backpacks and held them in their hands. This kind of American-style weapon was their standard. They really treat us like terrorists. Li Fan sneered. The 12 Scarlet Dragon archers had already drawn their bows, ready to fire at any moment. Haha, this bunch of idiots. Do they think their bows and arrows can resist our guns? Yang Qinya couldn't help but mock. Fire. Dong Ye had said everything he needed to say. Now, he didn't say anything else and didn't bother with Yang Qinya. With a wave of his hand, all the Dragon Blade elites immediately pulled the trigger, trying to turn these people into sieves. Dang, dang, dang. However, the phenomenal security guards had stepped forward at some point in time. Each of them had picked up an explosion-proof shield from the ground. Each of the 20 security guards held an explosive-proof shield in their hands. They joined together to form a wall, blocking everyone but Li Fan and Subhoodie. There were only a few small slots left on the anti-explosion shields, allowing the 12 Scarlet Dragon archers to reach their arrows through. It was a simple and crude method, but it was very effective. In this torrential rain, bullets rained down on the explosion-proof shield, causing sparks to fly. Li Fan also stood in the rain of bullets. He kept slapping his palms to deflect the bullets in front of him. Subhoodie the Flowery Monk was even worse. He put his palms together and stood there motionlessly, as if his body was made of iron. The bullets landed on his body, creating sparks and bouncing to the side. This person's body was even sturdier than the explosion-proof shield. Bang! A Type 38 bullet shot out and pierced through the head of a dragon blade. Following that, 12 arrows pierced through the air and shot in their direction. Fortunately, the rain and wind were strong today. Many of the arrows were blown askew. Only 2 of them hit 2 Dragonblade warriors, but they didn't hit their vitals. However, Dongyi knew that these people were expert archers. After a few tries, they would be able to figure out the direction of the wind and turn the arrows into lethal blades. Most importantly, there were lawns everywhere. Behind the dragon blades was a high wall. They were like live targets with nowhere to hide. In the end, Li Fan still schemed against him. Pa! Fengxing grabbed a bullet that was shot at Dongyi and threw it to the side. With King Kong around, it would be difficult to kill Dongyi. However, Li Fan wasn't in a hurry. He observed quietly. He believed that Dongyi wasn't someone who could be dealt with so easily. Sure enough, Dongyi gave the order. Pile the trenches. All the Dragonblade elites were carrying sandbags on their backs. They immediately threw the sandbags on the ground. The sandbags of 30 people formed a fortress, allowing the Dragonblade elites to hide behind it. These fortresses successfully blocked the next round of arrows from the Scarlet Dragon archers. At the same time, they rendered the Devil's Incarnation's sniper ineffective. RPG. Dongyi gave the order, and 2 Dragonblade elites immediately got to work. One took out the RPG and began to adjust it. The other helped to stuff the warhead in. That Dragonblade elite suddenly raised his head and carried the RPG. However, before he could fire, a bullet had already pierced through his head. The Devil's Incarnation's marksmanship was so accurate that the Dragonblade elites didn't dare to show their heads. This person's marksmanship is very accurate. This heavy rain doesn't affect him at all. Chun Jialua said hatefully, "Let me deal with him. Li Fan and the rest are still over there. If you go there, you'll be at a disadvantage." Dongyi reminded him and then gave a look to the Dragonblade elite next to him. He immediately carried the RPG. At the same time, Dongyi placed a Dragonblade elite's hat on the MP5. Facing the heavy rain, he raised the hat. Bang! A bullet immediately knocked the hat away. The Dragonblade elite took the opportunity to raise his head and aimed at the opposite position. He directly fired an RPG. Bang! The warhead carried flames and tore through the heavy rain toward Li Fan and the rest. "Deal with it," Li Fan ordered. Subhoodie immediately took a step forward and used his body to receive the warhead. Boom! Subhoodie's body was instantly engulfed by the flames. The security guards behind him who were holding up the anti-explosion shields gritted their teeth and held on so that they wouldn't be thrown to the ground by the shockwave. The heavy rain quickly extinguished the flames. Subhoodie's body was black as he stood there. He wiped the soot off his face and sighed. Umitba, has this little monk become a meat shield? Heavens! Heavens! Yang Qinya stood there and saw this scene through the Dragonblade warrior's periscopes. He was scared out of his wits. Is this guy still human? He can actually block an RPG with his mortal body. This person's protective technique is comparable to yours. Dongyi said to Fengxing. Fengxing seemed a little unconvinced. Change to an armor-piercing bullet, Dongyi ordered. The warrior using the RPG immediately nodded. Armor-piercing bullet was a lethal weapon against martial artists. No matter how tough one's body was, they couldn't withstand an armor-piercing bullet. Chapter 551. Subhoodie stood there amidst the wind and rain. His entire body was protected by a divine technique. Although the rain was pouring down, not a single drop of it was able to land on his body. This was Subhoodie's invincible golden body. Amidst the rain, it actually began to glow with a faint golden light. It was extremely dazzling. This monk is powerful. Fengxing was a knowledgeable person. He was the only one standing here, unafraid of the devil incarnate sneak attack. He stared at Subhoodie standing there, his body glowing with a faint golden light. He frowned slightly. This is the invincible golden body, the supreme scripture of Buddhism. Dongyi raised his eyebrows at Fengxing's words. Invincible golden body? Although Dongyi did not know martial arts, he had some understanding of all the martial arts in the world. The people of Dragon Hall once said that Dong Ye's head contained the entire Wulin's treasured book. In this world, there were only two people with such talent. One was the Dragon Hall's Dong Yi, and the other was the Devil Cult Saintess. Dong Yi finally rose to his feet. He gave Subhoodie a few more glances. Now that Feng Xing was specifically protecting him, Dong Yi didn't need to be afraid of this Demon King's sneak attacks. With this person, it's going to be troublesome. What's there to be afraid of? It's just an invincible golden body. Chun Jialua said unconvinced. Can you block my tiger claw? Chun Jialua's tiger form fist had reached the acme of perfection. His tiger claws could shatter metal and break jade. He refused to believe that he couldn't deal with an invincible golden body. Don't be impulsive, Dong Yi reminded him. Leave the invincible golden body to the armor-piercing bullets. All right. Although Chun Jialua was bold but not astute, he followed Dong Ye's words. Another round of swords rained down. This time, the Scarlet Dragon archers were smarter. They raised their bows and shot into the air. This round of arrows dodged the sandbags piled up by the dragon blade and rained down from the sky. A few arrows hit the dragon blade warriors. If this continued, it would definitely be very disadvantageous to Dong Yi and the others. Yang Qinya hid in the back, trembling with fear. The two Dragonblade warriors were in charge of protecting him to prevent him from being harmed. When we fire the armor-piercing shells later, Jialuo, lead a team and circle around from the back. Dong Yi planned to launch a surprise attack. There were plains and grasslands everywhere, so it was almost impossible to leave without anyone noticing. Only when the armor-piercing bullets were fired would they be able to quickly circle around the battlefield and attack. All right. Chun Jialua immediately selected a team of 5 elites. Each of them carried an MP5 and prepared to follow Chun Jialua to open up the second battlefield. Chun Jialua was also focused and calm, waiting to stab Li Fan in the back. Get ready, move out. At Dong Ye's command, the gunner stood up with the RPG on his shoulder and aimed at the bald monk. Feng Xing suddenly made a move and grabbed a bullet that was flying towards him. As long as the Demon King of Confusion's attacks were blocked, the cannoneers would be able to take action. With Feng Xing's help, the cannoneer immediately fired an armor-piercing bullet at Subhoodie. Li Fan saw the clues, and he vaguely felt that something was wrong. With a wave of his hand, the devil incarnate pulled the trigger without hesitation. Boom! The bullet exploded the incoming armor-piercing bullet, and the surging flames engulfed Subhoodie. However, the flames could not hurt him. Not good. Dong Yi frowned. This sniper's marksmanship was a little more accurate than he had expected. On the other side, Chun Jialua had already taken advantage of the fire to circle around from the right with 5 elites, launching a surprise attack on Li Fan and the others. However, Li Fan seemed to be prepared. The moment the Dragonblade warriors ran to the right, before they could raise their guns to shoot, the ground suddenly collapsed, revealing a huge hole that swallowed them all. There were rows of blades underground, and only Chun Jialua alone grabbed the edge of the hole, relying on his Qinggong and tiger claws to climb up. As for the 5 elites, they had all been turned into beehives by the blades. Dong Yi frowned. He did not expect such a thing to happen. His elite troops had actually fallen for this third-rate trap. The main problem was that the typhoon had come at the wrong time. He had wanted to take advantage of the chaos to attack Residence 101 and take down Lu Xinan and Li Fan. He did not expect that the typhoon would be used by Li Fan and become a burden to him. Li Fan and the others had the home advantage and forced him into a disadvantageous position. They even set up layers of traps so that Dong Yi could not attack. Li Fan, I'll kill you. Chun Jialua could no longer hold it in. He had come out on orders to attack Li Fan's, but from behind and kill Li Fan. But now that he had fallen into such a state, he was naturally furious. Chun Jialua had cut off all means of retreat. Without hesitation, he jumped toward Li Fan. 12 Saints of the Dragon Hall. Li Fan crossed his arms and snorted coldly. He did not even move and snapped his fingers. Xiaohou immediately jumped over and stood in front of Chun Jialua. Little girl from Huashan, get lost. Chun Jialua did not have the slightest bit of tender feelings for the fairer sex. He grabbed at Xiaohou's face with a fierce tiger claw. However, Li Fan stood behind him and opened his arms. His true chi flowed through the air and poured into Xiaoho's body. Xiaoho felt her body swell as if something was squeezing in. This gave Xiaoho a strange feeling, as if she was swollen, but also a little comfortable. However, as an inexperienced person, she did not know much about these things and did not think too much about it. At this moment, Xiaoho was like a puppet, allowing Li Fan to control her. Facing Chen Jialua, who was jumping over, she pulled out her charming gentle sword and directly used the 3 Friends of Winter to welcome Chen Jialua, who was coming from the sky. The 3 lightning-fast swords went straight for Chen Jialua's 3 vital points. He was alarmed, thinking to himself, how could this little disciple of Huashan have such a beautiful sword technique? However, Chen Jialua was an expert after all. Without any hesitation, he immediately turned around and pressed his palm against Xiaoho's sword. His entire body flipped in the air and landed behind Xiaoho, clawing at the back of her head. Xiaoho did not even need to turn her head. As if she had eyes on her back, she directly stabbed the sword in her hand behind her back, accurately stabbing at Chen Jialua's eyes. Chen Jialua was also taken aback. This little girl's sword art had reached the acme of perfection. Was she really just a little disciple of Huashan? It didn't look like it. Her swordsmanship was at least within the ranks of the experts. Pa! The sword was blocked by Chen Jialua's tiger claw, and the sword chi struck Chen Jialua's hand, injuring it. Fuck! Chen Jialua could not help but curse. He had wanted to kill Li Fan, but he was injured by a Huashan female disciple. Where was his face? Chapter 552. However, the title of White Tiger was not for nothing. Chen Jialua was arrogant and wild by nature. He had learned this tiger form fist to its fullest. He lowered his body and seemed to have transformed into a ferocious tiger as he pounced at Li Fan. Chen Jialua decided to capture the leader first. However, Li Fan spread his arms and stood there motionlessly. A cold wind blew behind Chen Jialua. The sword caught up and was extremely fast. Azure Dragon emerges from the water. This was the fastest sword on Mount Hua. Xiaoho caught up just like that and stabbed at Chen Jialua's heart from behind. Chen Jialua estimated that he could not be faster than this sword. Fuck. He immediately lowered his body and rolled on the ground. Then, he turned around and kicked. Tiger Tail Whip. In order to master the tiger form fist, Chen Jialua had been locked in a cage with a ferocious tiger for an entire month. In this month, he and the tiger ate, slept, and fought together. Sometimes, Chen Jialua even forgot that he was a human. He began to treat himself as a tiger. This tiger tail whip was the favorite move of tigers when they launched sneak attacks. If a tiger tail whip were to land on a person's body, it would be able to break their bones. Chen Jialua had learned this move from the tiger for an entire month. In the end, he mastered it and used this tiger tail whip as his trump card. When this kick swept out, the air groaned as if it was being torn apart by Chen Jialua's kick. Li Fan could not help but be impressed. This person's tiger form fist had already reached the pinnacle. Even the Black Tiger Emperor of his 7-hero fist might not have his style. Chen Jialua's leg landed on Xiaoho's shoulder in the blink of an eye, but Xiaoho raised her sword and met Chen Jialua's leg. If Chen Jialua insisted on kicking Xiaoho, his leg would probably be crippled. It all depended on whether Chen Jialua was willing to exchange. Both sides were gambling, but Li Fan was confident that even if Chen Jialua was willing to exchange, he could guarantee senior sister Xia's safety. Xiaoho, who was under Li Fan's control, showed no fear in the face of this move. Xiai believed that Li Fan wouldn't put her in danger. The reason why little junior brother controlled him to compete with Chen Jialua was so that he could have a better understanding of sword techniques. There were some martial arts that could not be taught. Only by personally experiencing it would one be able to feel it. Xia Yin was from Mount Hua's heavenly sword faction. There was a perfect combination of sword and energy. Chen Jialua could already feel the hairs on his legs trembling from the intense sword chi on her sword. Even if Chen Jialua was brave, he wasn't a fool. In the end, his leg was not as tough as Xiaoho's sword. He flinched at the last moment and grabbed the ground with both hands, forcibly stopping his whipping leg. Chun Jialua rolled to the side and dodged Xiaoho's sword. At the same time, he cursed at Li Fan. Li Fan, you're hiding behind a woman. What kind of hero are you? If you have the ability, fight me for 300 rounds. As he spoke, he brandished his tiger claws and glared at Li Fan fiercely. All right, since you've made such a request, how can I not satisfy you? Li Fan loosened his control over Xiaoho and moved his muscles and bones. Come on, I'll play with you. After Li Fan finished his warm-up, he hooked his finger at Chun Jialua. Dong Yi looked at Chun Jialua. It was hard to tell if he was relaxed or nervous. He did not look happy or sad. However, only he knew that he was indeed nervous. Li Fan had a confident look on his face. It was as if he did not take Chun Jialua seriously at all. The 7 Heroes Fist that he cultivated was ranked 10th in the Divine Skill Manual. This 7 Heroes Fist was probably what Li Fan was relying on. Chun Jialua was usually unrestrained, but today, he seemed to be at a disadvantage. Feng Xing, prepare to help Jialua later. Dong Yi instructed. Feng Xing was not a talkative person. He stood there without saying anything, but the expression on his face expressed his thoughts. I know that Jialua does not like to join hands with others, but now, it's not up to him or me. I'll hide behind the sandbag in a while. You don't have to worry about my safety. As he spoke, Dong Yi squatted down and used the periscope to observe the battle. Feng Xing remained silent, only nodding his head. Li Fan, what capital do you have to be arrogant? When Chun Jialua saw Li Fan's relaxed look, anger rose in his heart. He pounced forward like a ferocious tiger, immediately charging at Li Fan. Chun Jialua's claws tore through the air and arrived in front of Li Fan in an instant. Li Fan suddenly turned serious. It was as if he had changed into a different person. He suddenly slapped at Chun Jialua. 7 Brilliance Fist. Tiger beating. Bam. Li Fan's palm was a step faster than Chun Jialua's. Taking advantage of the fact that he was in the middle of making a move and could not block the direct attack, the palm slapped his face. Chun Jialua was directly sent flying. He came quickly and flew back just as quickly, crashing straight to the ground. Chun Jialua rolled on the ground, removing the excess strength on his body. He was afraid again, looking at Li Fan in shock. His face was broken and covered in blood. Chun Jialua wiped away the blood, readjusted his posture, and let the true qi circulate throughout his body. He was the Dragon Hall's 12 Saints, White Tiger Chun Jialua. How could he be defeated so easily? The heavy rain from the sky became even more ferocious. Chun Jialua had true qi protecting his body, so the rain could not land on him. But he could still feel a trace of coldness. This was a kind of lack of confidence. This made Chun Jialua start to doubt his own strength. Even though he told himself several times in his heart, he was still a little afraid. Feng Xing, go. Dong Yi knew that it was time. Once Chun Jialua's confidence collapsed, he would not be able to form an effective fighting strength. Feng Xing immediately jumped up high, directly crossing a distance of more than 10 meters, and fell down towards Li Fan's head from the sky. Subdue the bear. Li Fan dodged Feng Xing's punch and at the same time grabbed his body. Using his strength, he fiercely threw him to the ground. Feng Xing's body smashed onto the ground, causing countless splashes of water. However, he was not injured at all. He laid on the ground and grabbed Li Fan's legs with both hands. Chun Jialua came to his senses. Now was not the time to doubt himself. Dong Ye's order was to take down Li Fan. Chun Jialua gathered his strength and turned into a fierce tiger, pouncing forward once again. Li Fan's legs were clamped down, so it was indeed inconvenient for him to make a move. As for Chun Jialua, he clawed out more than 10 times in a row, a set of continuous techniques, wanting to take Li Fan away. But Li Fan's hands were in a crane's hand position, continuously slapping away Chun Jialua's attacks time and time again. Chun Jialua was worthy of the title of White Tiger. His tiger claws were getting faster and faster. In almost an instant, he was able to claw out 7 times, and his hands seemed to have left after images. Chapter 553. Chun Jialuo's continuous attacks were fast and fierce. Ordinary people would not be able to dodge them. But Li Fan was not an ordinary person. Although Chun Jialuo's claws were fast, every claw was within his reaction range. Li Fan's crane hand looked slow, but it was very methodical. Every time, it would slap Chun Jialuo's tiger claws away effortlessly. But Chun Jialuo did not stop at all, and his attacks became faster and faster, like a gust of wind. In the end, Li Fan could only see a shadow. This Chun Jialuo was indeed too powerful. His attacks were very rhythmic. Even though it was so fast, it was not chaotic at all, causing Li Fan's crane hand to slowly be unable to keep up. Amazing! Although he was an enemy, Li Fan could not help but praise him. With such strength, it was no wonder he was called the 12 Saints of the Dragon Hall. Now that Chun Jialuo's attacks were like a torrential storm, Li Fan was actually unable to find a chance to fight the tiger. Indeed, he could not underestimate the heroes of the world. The main thing was that there was an Iron Man grabbing onto him, making him too passive. 2 against 1. What kind of fucking hero are you? The devil incarnate raised his sniper rifle and fired a shot at Fengxing, who was lying on the ground. But Fengxing's hands did not move. He only circulated his qigong throughout his body, forming a shield, forcefully blocking the bullet of the devil incarnate. Fuck. What a monster. The devil incarnate could not help but curse. Xiai was a little anxious. She could tell that Li Fan was at a disadvantage. Without hesitation, she raised her charming gentle sword and pounced towards Li Fan, thrusting her sword towards Chun Jialuo's back. But Chun Jialuo did not even turn his head. The energy on his body sent Xiai flying. No matter what, Chun Jialuo was an expert who had reached the pinnacle. This Xiai had not even reached the next level, so how could he put her in his eyes? Although he did not know what kind of method she used to become so strong. But now, she could not. Little senior sister, don't panic. Leave this to me. Subhoodie, don't move. I want to take care of them myself. Li Fan was still not impatient. He slowly said, I have already seen through his flaws. I will definitely defeat him within 3 moves. Haha, you really know how to talk big. Chun Jialuo laughed out loud. Your death is coming. That's not necessarily true. As Li Fan spoke, he suddenly stopped using the crane hand and directly opened his arms, allowing Chun Jialuo to attack him. Swish, swish, swish. The clothes on Li Fan's body were torn into several pieces, and his chest was also torn with many bloody marks. However, he forcefully pulled Chun Jialuo into his embrace. Following that, his muscles seemed to be about to explode. He was filled with strength and directly strangled Chun Jialuo, almost breaking his bones. After this, although his bones were not broken, Chun Jialuo screamed in pain. Clearly, he was not lightly strangled. Meanwhile, Li Fan was still tightening his grip. It looked like he was about to break Chun Jialuo's muscles and bones. Fengxing could not hold it in anymore. He immediately grabbed Li Fan's legs and tried to pull him down. However, Li Fan's body was like an iron tower, firmly rooted to the ground. No matter how much strength Fengxing used, he was unable to move him at all. Tough guy. Although Fengxing did not like to speak, he was not stupid. He understood that this time, they had met a tough opponent. This little overlord Li Fan was indeed worthy of his reputation. For him to be able to send his own 7-hero fist into the top 10 of the divine arts ranking, he definitely had the strength to do so. Fengxing was extremely nervous. If this went on, Chun Jialuo would definitely have a mishap. However, Chun Jialuo was indeed a practitioner of the tiger form fist. This person had trained his martial arts to the bone. He opened his mouth and suddenly bit towards Li Fan's neck. Li Fan used his true energy to protect his neck, but Chun Jialuo's teeth still tore through his protective true energy and bit his flesh. Intense pain. If this went on, it would not be good for anyone. However, if Li Fan admitted defeat and pushed Chun Jialuo out, he would probably tear off a large piece of his flesh. And Dianhe could not be used casually. For experts like Chun Jialuo, Dianhe had to be used when they were at their weakest in order to be effective. If he wanted to get rid of Chun Jialuo, Li Fan had indeed fallen into a deadlock. It was still fine if there was only Chen Jialua, but there was still Feng Xing who was grabbing his legs tightly like iron pincers. The trembling of these two people exceeded Li Fan's expectations. However, it did not matter. This was a martial arts competition. Amidst the intense pain on his neck, not only was Li Fan not afraid, he even faintly became excited. He roared a few times and his body suddenly began to expand, aberration bone changing. In the blink of an eye, Li Fan's body grew to more than 2 meters tall. The muscles on his body were as sturdy as stone. His calves became thicker and his arms became sturdier. Li Fan tore apart his shirt, and the overlord subduing the tiger painting on his back revealed a sinister look in the night rain. Crack! Chun Jialua's lumbar vertebrae were finally crushed. He screamed repeatedly and completely loosened his mouth. As for Li Fan's neck, blood spurted out, but it was instantly squeezed to death by his muscles. He threw Chun Jialua's body out. Feng Xing was worried that something would happen to his companion, so he immediately let go of Li Fan's legs and jumped out. He caught up to Chen Jialua and pulled him into his embrace. Chen Jialua had already fainted. Feng Xing sent him back behind the sandbag and checked his injuries. His spine is broken. Even if it can be cured, his martial arts will be crippled. Dong Yi seemed to know a little about medicine as well. After he checked Chun Jialua's body, he frowned deeply. On the other side, in order to fight with the two of them, Li Fan had consumed a large amount of innate qi. He stretched out his hand and sub-hoodie immediately threw a small porcelain bottle over. Li Fan opened the porcelain bottle and poured out a blue pill. He stuffed it into his mouth and swallowed it in one gulp. The pill emitted an endless amount of true energy, replenishing his somewhat empty dantian. This was the Yuan recovery pill that Luo Xiaofeng had concocted. It was specially used to recover a person's true qi. As the saying goes, the products of the Medicine King Valley must be of high quality. Especially with the help of the Shan Nong Cauldron, the quality of the medicine was raised to a whole new level. Li Fan had already recovered all of the lost true qi. He took a step forward, and the heavy rain that filled the sky seemed to stop for a second, as if it was alarmed by Li Fan's power. Yang Qinya looked at the swollen Li Fan and was so scared that his face turned pale. Heavens! Heavens! Is he a devil? Uncle Yang, there's no need to panic. How can I not panic? Yang Qinya's expression, as if he had seen a ghost, could not be concealed. Uncle Yang, don't panic. I've already thought of a way out. Behind them was the wall, and in front of them was the enemy. They were clearly an assault team, but now they were forced into a corner. Seeing that Dong Yi was still calm, Yang Qinya did not know what he had to do. The rain was getting heavier and heavier, and Li Fan was getting closer and closer. Yang Qinya's heart was about to jump out. Chapter 554. At this moment, the sound of an engine suddenly came from outside the wall. It sounded like there was a roar. Li Fan stopped in his tracks. What kind of machine could make such a loud sound in the heavy rain? Kaboom! The wall behind Dong Ye's group collapsed. An old tank had actually smashed through the wall, crushing the broken bricks as it drove in. Fuck me. What's going on? Li Fan was stunned as he looked at the tank that had entered. Is this a joke? A Type 3 tank from Japan during World War II, the Devil Incarnate knew his stuff. He was surprised when he saw this big guy. This thing is old. Dragon Hall is too arrogant. How did you get it? It was unbelievable that they could get a tank in their country. Although it was an old tank left behind by Japan, it was still a killing machine. This tank seemed to be well maintained. There was even a muddy parachute behind it. It seemed to have been dropped from the sky. Using the commotion caused by the tank, the Dragonblade soldiers immediately retreated outside through the broken wall. The old Type 3 tank turned its cannon and aimed at Li Fan. Boom! The tank fired its cannon. Without waiting for Li Fan, Pewdie took a step forward and put his palms together. Relying on his invincible body, he blocked the cannon. Boom! No matter how tough Subhoodie's body was, he was still sent flying by a single shot from the tank. He flew backwards like a cannonball, smashing heavily into the building behind him and embedding himself into the wall. Pewdie, are you okay? Li Fan quickly looked back. Pewdie's body was stuck in the wall. Pewdie put his palms together and chanted some Buddhist scriptures. It seemed like he was fine. Li Fan heaved a sigh of relief. This guy's invincible body was powerful. He could survive even after being hit by a cannon. Even he wouldn't dare to use his body to block the cannon. After all, he was still immortal. However, he didn't know if he could use the ultimate skill of Star Luo power. Fuck. Why did he have to pin his hopes on Lu Jinshan's ultimate skill? His 7 Brilliance fist could do the same. Li Fan suddenly had the desire to challenge it. He stood there and used alien bone changing to strengthen his body. The rainwater automatically parted when it came into contact with him. The overlord subduing the tiger painting on his back seemed even more ferocious in the rain. The tiger subduing tyrant seemed to have come to life, displaying his majesty. Fire! Kill him! Kill him! Yang Qinya was standing behind the tank. Seeing Li Fan standing in the rain, he was furious and roared. Fire! Although it was a pity, Dong Yi knew that he had to kill him. This person couldn't be left alive. Boom! The muzzle pointed at Li Fan and once again spewed out furious flames. At the same time, a great war god suddenly appeared behind Li Fan. This great war god directly slapped a palm towards the incoming cannonball. Boom! Red flames exploded in the night rain. Li Fan's god of war scattered slightly, but it quickly condensed again. What is that? Looking at the great war god behind Li Fan, Yang Qinya felt like he was in a dream. Although he was like a fish in the water in the business world and had experienced all kinds of storms, this was the first time he saw such a thing. Even a tank couldn't kill him. Is he really a devil? Yang Qinya really couldn't stay calm anymore. Cover us. Prepare to retreat. Dong Yi gave the order. The tank aimed at Li Fan and continued to fire while the others prepared to retreat. Where do you think you're going? Li Fan walked over step by step and kept using the Great War God to scatter the incoming cannonballs. Boom! Li Fan had already approached. The Great War God slapped the tank's armor. The tank was directly flattened, and the front of the tank sank into the ground. A secret weapon that had been maintained for God knows how long was still scrapped in the end. I really didn't expect that your control of true Qi has reached this level. Dong Yi looked at Li Fan and couldn't help but sigh. Seems like I'm going to die here today. You guys leave first. Chun Jialuo's lumbar spine was clearly damaged, but he actually stood up and walked to the hole. Jialuo! Dong Yi was shocked. Chun Jialuo shouted, "A man is born to be useful. Hallmaster, today is the day I, Chun Jialuo, shine. You guys leave quickly. Feng Xing, protect the Hallmaster." After saying that, Chun Jialuo stood at the location of the hole. He endured the enormous pain and stood at the location of the hole. Jialuo. Dong Yi didn't say anything else. He knew that Chun Jialuo's choice was the right one. If he didn't stay, then the others could forget about leaving. Several arrows flew over and shot down a few Dragonblade warriors. Even more Dragonblade warriors were protecting Dong Yi and the others as they left. This time, they returned in defeat. The Red Dragon Society had fully displayed their strength. Not only the Red Dragon Society, but also phenomenal corporations helped. This little overlord Li Fan would sooner or later become a formidable character in the pugilistic world. As long as he was here, the Red Dragon Society would find it hard to deal with them. Dong Yi was carried on Feng Xing's shoulder as they ran for their lives. As for Li Fan, he was blocked by Chun Jialuo. Your lumbar spine is broken, but you still have the ability to move? Li Fan was a little surprised. A person with a broken lumbar spine, even if he wasn't crippled, his martial arts would be finished. Yet Chun Jialuo was still standing in front of him, assuming the stance of the tiger fist. Li Fan, even if I die today, I will take you down with me. Chun Jialuo's gaze was resolute. Li Fan filled his eyes with true energy. He could clearly see that Chun Jialuo's true energy was emitting a strange radiance that far surpassed his previous level. He was burning his own life force, using true energy to temporarily stabilize his lumbar spine while fighting. Fine, I will fulfill your wish. Li Fan punched and kicked, while Chun Jialuo suddenly took a deep breath. His true energy actually slowly condensed into a shape. Li Fan. Today, I'll let you see what the upper realm of martial arts is, chi condensation. The true energy was like a coat. On Chun Jialuo's body, it emitted a faint blue and white light. Li Fan felt that Chun Jialuo's strength seemed to have increased by quite a bit. He waved his hand at himself, tearing the air apart. The other party had clearly not touched him yet, but Li Fan felt pain. The muscles in front of his chest were torn open. Li Fan lowered his head to look. There were 5 claw marks on it. His tiger claw was actually strong to such an extent. Li Fan was shocked. This chi condensation was actually so powerful. Fierce tiger strikes water. Chun Jialuo pounced over, his hands continuously attacking Li Fan, tearing at his body with all his might. Li Fan was actually forced to retreat. It was obvious that he could not resist Chun Jialuo's enthusiasm. Chapter 555. This chi condensation was indeed powerful. Chun Jialuo had burned his own life to execute this move, allowing the innate chi to strengthen his own strength. He was wearing the innate chi coat that was emitting a blue and white radiance. He pounced over and unleashed a series of moves towards Li Fan. The surrounding air was torn apart. Li Fan was unable to dodge. There were already many bloodstains on his body, and he was scratched everywhere. This was not the way to go on. Li Fan immediately spun his feet and used the ape's qinggong. Shua. Chun Jialuo tore apart Li Fan's afterimage, and at the same time, felt a cold air attacking his back. Chun Jialuo immediately turned around and kicked. Tiger tail whip. Chun Jialuo's sweep was as fast as a gust of wind, bringing with it the power of thunder. Li Fan stretched out his hands and blocked in front of him. Bam! His body was sent flying by the kick and slid back more than 10 meters, separating the water on the ground. Powerful. Li Fan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. This chi condensation was truly powerful. Little junior brother. Xia Tong reminded him from behind. He's burning his life. As long as you keep avoiding him, it won't be long before he runs out of oil and dies. He burned his life to fight me. How can I not fight? Li Fan said loudly, Come, come, come. I'll personally send you to the Western Paradise. Good, as expected of the little overlord. Chun Jialuo, admire you. Chun Jialuo let out a tiger's roar. His entire body jumped over and clawed at Li Fan. The surrounding air was torn apart, and even more wounds appeared on Li Fan's body. But Li Fan's eyes emitted a blue and white light. He had already seen the weakness on Chun Jialuo's body. Capture snake. Li Fan grabbed Chun Jialuo's wrist with both hands, and at the same time, kicked out fiercely, hitting Chun Jialuo's chest. Bang! This time, Chun Jialuo's heart was smashed into pieces. Chun Jialuo did not feel any pain and was instantly killed. After Li Fan killed Chun Jialuo, he did not hesitate at all. He grabbed Chun Jialuo's corpse and jumped up. In the blink of an eye, he had caught up with Dong Ye's bus that was escaping, like a red-crowned crane. Li Fan jumped over the window of the bus. Walala! Li Fan's feet shattered the front windshield of the car, and he fell into the car. Many Dragonblade warriors immediately raised their MP5s and aimed at Li Fan. However, Li Fan extended his right hand and used Dragon Toad's ingestion of water to grab their MP5s. He then threw them to the car door and kicked a Dragonblade warrior, stepping on him. Yang Qinya was so scared that he rolled off his seat, shivering. Feng Xing stood up and glared at Li Fan, but Dong Yi hurriedly stopped him. It seems like you're determined to kill us today. That's not it. Li Fan threw Chun Jialuo's corpse to Feng Xing. I came to negotiate with you. Li Fan just stood there. No one dared to provoke him. The Dragonblade warriors knew that Li Fan's rank wasn't on the same level as theirs. What conditions? Dong Yi looked at Li Fan, not knowing what he was planning. Hallmaster Dong, I don't need to say much. You're a smart person and naturally know what I'm trying to say. Li Fan said calmly. Dong Yi frowned slightly. Dragon Hall will not give up on a city. It's a must for Dragon Hall. That's because Dragon Hall doesn't know what kind of temper I have. Li Fan laughed coldly. If you really piss me off, I'll raid Dragon Hall's headquarters tomorrow. Dragon Hall's 12 saints and many other experts. Dongyi reminded Li Fan, White Tiger Chanjalua, he's not the strongest. You can try, but you should know that a life and death struggle won't benefit either of us. Fine, let's all take a step back. Dongyi said, since it's a negotiation, both sides have to state their conditions. Hallmaster Dong, this condition should be raised by you, right? Li Fan was not stupid. He kicked the ball back to Dongyi. Dragon Hall must investigate this matter. Someone has to take responsibility. Dongyi said, since you've already boarded the car, then don't leave. Follow me back to Dragon Hall. Let's see what kind of punishment they'll give you. Hallmaster Dong's condition is a bit too much, right? Li Fan raised his eyebrows. Naturally, I won't cheat you. Dongyi patted his chest. Since I'm the one who asked you to follow me back, I'll guarantee your life. I'll be your guarantor. Brotherly, are you willing to go with me? Sure. Dongyi did not expect that Li Fan would really agree. Isn't it just Dragon Hall? I haven't been there yet. Li Fan smiled. It's good to stroll around. With that, Li Fan found a seat and sat down. Dongyi and Feng Xing looked at each other. This Li Fan was really not an ordinary person. This trip was like entering the tiger's den, yet he was able to follow them so calmly. This Li Fan was really familiar with them. He sat down and took out a bottle of water from the backpack of a Dragonblade warrior and drank 2 mouthfuls. He then crossed his arms and closed his eyes to rest. He acted as if nothing had happened, causing young Qinya to be afraid. Let's take this chance to kill him, young Qinya suggested to Dongyi. No, I've already said that I'll keep him safe. Dongyi immediately shook his head. Uncle Yang, don't tell me you want me to be someone who goes back on my word. But this kid is too powerful. Young Qinya was already scared to the point of peeing his pants just by sitting in the same car with him. This person cannot be left alive. If we let him go today, we'll be raising a tiger in our bosom. Why don't we kill him now? Young Qinya made a shooting gesture. Uncle Yang, do you think you can make the decision for me now? Why don't I let you be the hall master of this branch? No, I was rude. Please don't take it to heart, Hall Master Dong. Young Qinya wanted to slap himself, but he also felt bitter in his heart. His son was still locked up in Mansion 101. How could he be at ease? Uncle Yang, don't be impatient. Young Master Yang is in the mansion and should be safe for now. Dongyi said, this matter, I also promised you. I will definitely solve it for you. Then I'll rely on Hall Master Dong. Young Qinya's words carried little weight, so he could only cup his hands. He leaned on the chair as if he was looking at the rain outside, but in fact, he already had a plan in mind. If he wanted to save his son, it seemed that relying on the Dragon Hall wouldn't work. He had to think of a way himself. There was a need to do something, even if he had to go bankrupt. Chapter 556. Just like that, Li Fan was sent to the capital where the headquarters of the Dragon Hall was located. The headquarters of the Dragon Hall was not a place that anyone could come to. Even those who had a good relationship with the Dragon Hall had never been to this place. But now, with the identity of an enemy, Li Fan entered the door of the Dragon Hall so openly and was even entertained with good food and drinks. Dongyi, is it appropriate for you to bring an enemy into the headquarters? There were many elders in the Dragon Hall. These people sat in a circle in the main hall, criticizing Dongyi and expressing their opinions. The Dragon Hall used the British parliamentary system. The entire Elder Hall had a total of 50 people and a Great Elder. He alone had 9 votes and played a very decisive role. This is the only choice. Dongyi stood in the middle of the hall and was watched by the elders without a change in expression. Feng Xing stood not far behind him. Even in the Dragon Hall, he still acted as Dong Ye's bodyguard. Our forces have already been uprooted in a city. Even if we parachuted the elites of the Dragonians over, you all have seen the outcome. Right now, the Red Dragon Society is strong and powerful. Li Fan's phenomenal escort agency has too many experts. It is basically impossible for us to take back a city. Dongyi, you are boosting the morale of others and diminishing your own. An elder couldn't help but reprimand. If this was in ancient times, you would have been charged with disturbing the morale of the army and skinned alive. Then we really have to thank the rapid progress of society. Dong Yi clasped his hands together and sincerely expressed his thanks. Dong Yi, don't be glib here. Put away your act. Another elder reprimanded. Our Dragon Hall has a solid foundation in China and has a good reputation. How can we let a small red dragon society shit on our heads? Moreover, the disadvantages in a city are all because of your poor command. Feng Xing frowned. This elder's words were a bit too much. As a branch leader, you can't even deal with a small red dragon society and even lost to 12 saints. The elder vented his dissatisfaction. This is simply absurd. I'm starting to doubt your abilities. Dong Yi had a good temper and a good upbringing. He stood there without getting angry. Instead, he slowly said, victory and defeat are common for soldiers. Even I can't be perfect. However, even if you give me another group of people, I don't have the confidence to take down City A. If the elders have a candidate, please feel free to choose one to replace me. Dong Yi, don't be too arrogant. You're not the only one who can be used in Dragon Hall. I've never said that. I'll let you choose one. Dong Yi chuckled and said, if you need, I can leave this position. We didn't let you go either. Dong Ye's position in the Dragon Hall was too important. He was the descendant of Lu Jinshan, and countless people in the martial arts world admired him. The 12 saints of the Dragon Hall also followed his lead. If he left, the 12 sages of the Dragon Hall would probably leave with him. Without the 12 sages of the Dragon Hall, half of the Dragon Hall would collapse. The underworld forces, without the help of the Jianghu, would not be able to go far in China, a place with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Then elders, what's the meaning of keeping me here? Dong Yi had a smile on his face. This Li Fan must be executed. An elder could not help but roar. If we don't execute him, where will our face be? The honor of the Dragon Hall cannot be humiliated. I'm afraid not. Dong Yi shook his head. I've made an agreement with Li Fan. If he comes here, I'll guarantee his safety. Dong Yi, is Dragon Hall a place where you have the final say? The elder glared at Dong Yi. And you actually want to protect an enemy? What are your intentions? That's right. What are you planning? Could it be that you've colluded with this Li Fan? I knew it. You have a disloyal heart. These elders criticized Dong Yi one after another. Dong Yi was not in a hurry. He waited for them to finish speaking. Just when it was noisy, the great elder took out a small hammer and fiercely knocked on the table twice. Only then did these elders quiet down. The great elder opened his mouth. Dong Yi, say it. What's your plan? This Li Fan, no matter what, he's a Jianghu person. Dong Yi nodded his head and spoke his mind. I can make an agreement with him. We'll decide the outcome with a martial arts competition. If he wins, then the Red Dragon Society will be disbanded. They will unconditionally release Young Ruining. Moreover, Li Fan will bear the crime of killing the 8 elders and surrender himself to the prison. Moreover, we will deal with Lu Xinnan. All of her Lu family shares will be handed over to our Dragon Hall. This condition is indeed a bit tempting. Then, what if he wins? The rule of the Jianghu is to unconditionally release him. Dong Ye's words caused the elders present to discuss. Obviously, this condition is a bit unacceptable to them. Isn't it better to directly kill him? Yeah, why do we need to negotiate with this guy? That's right. Since when does our Dragon Hall need to look at other people's eyes? Dong Yi shrugged his shoulders. This is my only way. If you don't accept it, then I can only escort Li Fan out of Dragon Hall. What did you say? Dong Yi, are you crazy? Unreasonable. Unreasonable. This man betrayed Dragon Hall. Betrayed our oath. Silence. The great elder knocked the small hammer again, making the entire audience quiet down. Dong Yi, the referendum is about to be held. Do you have anything else to say? Yeah, I do want to say a few words. Dong Yi stood in the hall and loudly said, Everyone, open your eyes wide and look at this society. The times have changed. We are now legal businessmen. What do you want to do? Continue to send people out every day to kill those unarmed civilians? Go and use swords and guns to conquer your territory? In this era, force belongs to Jianghu. Only riches belong to us. His words made the elders present unable to refute. Li Fan is a Jianghu person. He has the rules of Jianghu. Do you think killing Li Fan will solve the problem perfectly? No. This will only bring endless trouble to our Dragon Hall. Elders present, you are already old. Do you still want to go out and fight with others? No, of course not. You never fight. You just sit at home and enjoy the happiness of a family while collecting money, right? Everyone was speechless. If you want to cause trouble, okay, you can personally go and fight with these Walin people. If you want to make money, then leave it to me. I will make things end as soon as possible. Those who need to make money, continue to make money. Well, everyone, it's time for you to choose. Chapter 557. Martial Arts Competition? Li Fan ate his steak while looking at Dong Yi, who was sitting in front of him. Yes, this is the best choice I fought for you. Dong Yi shrugged his shoulders and said, I still have to thank you. You gave me another chance to fight. Don't mention it. I know you like it. Fuck, can't you tell sarcasm? Believe me, I'm tired of hearing this kind of thing. Dong Yi picked up the red wine on Li Fan's table. Look at you, you're living a good life. When I was debating with those idiots, you were eating and drinking here. I have my own things to deal with, and you have yours. Li Fan ate a big piece of steak. If you want to fight, no problem. Who? How many? 12 Saints of Dragon Hall, 6 experts. Dong Yi made a gesture of 6. So few people, your Dragon Hall is so polite. Don't ridicule, they want 10 people to fight together. Dong Yi rolled his eyes. Do you know how much effort I spent to help you get 6 people, and it's one by one? Taking turns to fight, really good. It's good to exhaust me to death. Li Fan nodded. Then I have to eat more steak, or I'll have no strength. Stop it. Dong Yi pointed at Li Fan's trouser pocket. You hid a medicine that can replenish true qi. I saw it. You have good eyes. This time it was Li Fan's turn to roll his eyes. In short, if you win, you'll be acquitted. Dong Yi explained. If you fail, you should remember what I told you. To be honest, your condition really makes people speechless. Li Fan couldn't help but complain. If it's an ordinary person, who can accept this condition? Dong Yi was helpless. I also have my difficulties, brother. Okay, since you've treated me well for a few days, I won't make things difficult for you. Li Fan put down his knife and fork and wiped his mouth. When is the fight? Arrange it for tomorrow. I will take care of everything for you. Don't worry. As Dong Yi spoke, he took a heavy wooden box from Feng Xing's hands and placed it on Li Fan's table. What is this? A treasured sword passed down in my family. Dong Yi gently stroked the box. A treasure sword should be given to a hero. I want to give it to you. I appreciate your kindness, but firstly, I'm not good with swords. Secondly, I already have a sword. With that said, Li Fan pulled out a short sword from behind his waist. With a flick of his hand, the short sword immediately elongated and became a treasured sword. Then, Li Fan shook it again. The hilt of the sword lengthened and the blade shortened, turning it into a spear. Brotherly, you're really creative. Dong Yi exclaimed in admiration, a creative sword. However, this sword of mine is also very good. It's called Hero, and it was the sword of my ancestor, Lu Jinchan. Huh. Li Fan was stunned. Damn, Lu Jinchan's sword? Big brother Dong, this is too precious. I am giving this sword to you on behalf of Jialua. The corners of Dong Ye's eyes reddened as he said this. As the saying went, men do not easily shed tears. Even if they were sad, they would endure it in their hearts. Although Jialua died at your hands, you gave him a true martial practitioner's death. Therefore, I must thank you. Li Fan was somewhat surprised. This Dong Yi was not a martial practitioner, but he had the integrity of a martial practitioner. Martial fighters were a group of very strange people. Being one of them, Li Fan was naturally affected by their temperament. To them, Martial arts triumphed over everything. Martial souls were more important than life. Keep it. It has no use in my hands. In your hands, you might be able to recreate the power you had in my ancestors' hands. It was impossible to say that he was not interested or not interested. Anything that Lu Jinshan had used was indeed fascinating. Li Fan could even imagine that if this thing were to spread to the pugilistic world, there would probably be a lot of people who would start a bloody war over it. Li Fan opened the wooden box and carefully examined the sword. The sword's edge was engraved with golden characters, Ing and Shtong. This sword looked a little like a Han sword. The scabbard was made of black crocodile skin, and the end of the scabbard was inlaid with a golden beast head. The hilt was also black, and the edge was golden. It also looked like a beast. As Li Fan touched the sword, he felt as though he could feel the sword intent within it vibrating. A sword. Li Fan immediately thought of the four elephants' sword that had been snatched away by Lu Zhu from the devil cult. That sword was indeed a divine weapon. It could condense sword chi into the four elephants. It was truly domineering. And this hero's sword carried sword chi. Just looking at it made one feel a kind of sharpness. It was truly rare. Lu Jinshan also knows sword techniques. Elder Ancestor is indeed outstanding in his fists and kicks, but he also knows sword techniques. As Dong Yi spoke, he gestured to Li Fan to pull out the sword. With a clang, Li Fan pulled out the sword. The sword released a ray of light, which was truly amazing, and on the sword, a row of small words was engraved. This is a sword technique that Elder Ancestor created. It is called Slaying God. Dong Yi laughed. Elder Ancestor was a rather unrestrained person. This technique, Slaying God, was created by him before he died. What he meant was that only when he met a true expert would he be able to bring out the brilliance of slaying God. Unfortunately, until his death, he was unable to fulfill his wish. Thus, this technique was never revealed. Li Fan was very surprised. This Lu Jinshan actually had a trump card up his sleeve? He did not have time to thank Dong Yi as he eagerly looked at the row of small words. Lu Jinshan was really a wild person. He actually named his own sword technique Slaying God. He did have the aura of the number one person in the world. This sword technique is your elder ancestor's trump card. Can you just give it to me just like that? Li Fan could not help but ask. Even a sword can be given to a hero, not to mention this sword technique. Dong Yi patted Li Fan's arm. Don't forget, you have to fight 6 rounds in a row. Treat this as an insurance for you from me, your big brother. If you can go out safely, then I can live up to the oath I made. Aya, that's so embarrassing. All right, then I won't force you. No, no, no. I like it when people force me. Li Fan thickened his face and kept the sword. As the saying goes, don't hit the person who gives you gifts. Since Brother Dong is so polite, I can't be careless. I will accept this favor of yours and will definitely repay it in the future. All right, then I won't disturb your rest anymore. Feng Xing, let's go. Dong Yi came and went freely. He turned around and left. Feng Xing followed him out of the door, but his face was filled with doubt. I understand what you mean. I am making an investment. Dong Yi was wearing a loose robe today. His hands were tucked into the sleeves as he said with a smile, this person will definitely be like Elder Ancestor in the future. What I do today will be my capital in the future. Chapter 558. Li Fan rested in the Dragon Hall for a day. Early the next morning, someone came to guide him to the arena. Li Fan chose an ordinary martial attire. It was a white shirt, black pants, and a pair of black cloth shoes. He carried the hero's sword on his back and left the room. He followed the guide all the way to the Dragon Hall's arena. Due to his identity, Li Fan was not allowed to walk around the Dragon Hall's building. However, the Dragon Hall was indeed rich and imposing. They had turned the entire first floor of the building into an arena. The spectators were all members of the Dragon Hall. Most of them were elders, and there were also many hired thugs protecting the elders. When the elders saw Li Fan walk in with the hero's sword on his back, they started discussing among themselves. Dong Yi even gave him the hero's sword? He really does have a close relationship with that kid. Humph. I knew it. That kid Dong Yi is unreliable. Don't tell me he bribed the 12 sages too? I don't think so. The 12 sages of the Dragon Hall have their own principles. That's good. It looks like we really need to reconsider Dong Ye's position as Hall Master. Dong Yi stood at the side and turned a deaf ear to them. Feng Xing stood by his side, guarding him. Today, other than Feng Xing, there were 6 other experts beside Dong Yi. These 6 experts all exuded an extraordinary aura. From the looks of it, they were 6 of the 12 sages of the Dragon Hall. There were men and women among them, and they all looked at Li Fan with hostility. For martial fighters, fighting was their desire. Since Chen Jialua had died by his hands, Dong Yi would not tell them to go easy on him. Even if he did, it would be an insult to them. They would not listen to him. Kid, I will dig out your heart and avenge the white tiger with my own hands. A skinny man in black with a hooked nose made a gesture of digging out his heart at Li Fan. The surrounding elders seemed to be gloating. They all wanted to see the moment Li Fan was killed. This person is the Eagle King of the 12 Saints, your opponent in the first round. Dong Yi seemed to be today's host. He stood there and introduced to Li Fan. Li Fan, there are a total of 6 matches today. As martial artists, both of you must respect this sacred fight. If you win, you can leave. If you lose, you will have to pay the price. In the arena, life and death were not important. Only success and failure mattered. I'll say it again. It doesn't matter if it's life or death, only success or failure. Thank you, Brother Dong. I understand. Li Fan nodded. I won't show any mercy. Eagle King licked his fingers. My white bone eagle claw will definitely crush your skull. Go down there and apologize to White Tiger. Io, do you want to crush my skull or dig out my heart? Li Fan laughed. Big brother, you seem to be a little busy. I'll do it all. Eagle King was so angry that he cursed, tear you apart. All right, as long as you're happy. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders, expressing his helplessness. Die. Eagle King could not wait for the match to begin. He suddenly jumped up and descended from the sky, clawing towards Li Fan. In that instant, Li Fan felt as if an eagle had descended from the sky, ferociously hunting its prey. Ape play. Li Fan's afterimage was torn apart. Eagle King's claw landed on the floor, shattering it. Powerful. Li Fan could not help but exclaim in admiration. It was different from White Tiger's tiger claw. Chen Jialua's tiger claw was fast and rhythmic. And this Eagle King's eagle claw technique was truly like a falcon, descending from the sky and subduing the enemy with one claw. To him, not only did he have to train his eagle claw technique to perfection, he also had to raise his qigong to the extreme. The 12 saints of the Dragon Hall were indeed hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Let's see where you can hide. When Eagle King saw that Li Fan had dodged his first claw, he immediately leaped up and pounced into the air again. Eagle King's movements were very agile and fast. In a blink of an eye, he had arrived above Li Fan's head. But before he could punch, Li Fan suddenly turned around and kicked the air. His legs swept across Eagle King's shoulder, sending him flying. Eagle King somersaulted in the air and landed on the ground, dissipating the excess force. You actually caught my movements? What kind of technique is this? 7 Heroes Fist, bird beating. Li Fan said very seriously. Bird beating? There's such a move? No, I thought of it on the spot. Li Fan touched his chin. Isn't it a little too casual? Then it's not called bird beating, it's called airplane beating. What do you think? Courting death. Eagle King was so angry that smoke was coming out of his 7 orifices. He soared into the air again. This time, Eagle King displayed another light body technique, air step. His body constantly moved in the air. When he needed to move, he only needed to step in the air and his body would move. This technique was somewhat similar to his own light body technique. However, Eagle King was able to display it more easily, and his movement was also very nimble. His posture attracted Li Fan's attention. This was a true combat expert. Come, Li Fan roared at him. At the same time, he stepped into a horse stance and directly attacked Eagle King, who was pouncing down. Heroic shattering claw. Eagle King suddenly slapped down with his claw, grabbing at the top of Li Fan's head. Ape King cannon. Li Fan suddenly struck out with a lightning-fast palm. Pooh! Eagle King's 5 fingers pierced through Li Fan's scalp, causing blood to spurt out. But Li Fan's palm also landed solidly on Eagle King's body. Bam! Eagle King's body flew out and directly smashed the ceiling above his head. His body embedded in it. Blood flowed down and flowed into Li Fan's mouth. He licked his lips and laughed. Your eagle claw is indeed tyrannical. However, I'm not bad either. Black Tiger Emperor. Li Fan roared and his body instantly entered the Black Tiger Emperor state. In an instant, his entire aura changed. Dongyi looked at Li Fan with some surprise. In that instant, he felt that the person standing there was not Li Fan, but a high and mighty emperor. It's like scratching an itch. Eagle King spat out a mouthful of blood and stepped on the ceiling. Then, he quickly closed in on Li Fan. Eagle King's speed was extremely fast. In an instant, he pounced in front of Li Fan and clawed down again. But Li Fan also raised his tiger claws and clashed with Eagle King's claws. Crack! Both of their hands clawed at the same time, trying to crush each other's hands. Eagle King's hands were as hard as stone, but Li Fan's hands were as hard as steel. Both of their hands made a sound like metal rubbing against each other. Even an eagle has to submit to a fierce tiger on the ground. As Li Fan spoke, he fiercely pulled down and threw Eagle King's body to the ground. Chapter 559. Welcome to the surface. Li Fan smiled at Eagle King. Then with a stomp of his feet, the ground trembled and Eagle King's body bounced up, appearing in front of Li Fan. Black Tiger Fierce Mountain Climbs. Li Fan struck out 3 times, hitting Eagle King's chest, chin, and then grabbing onto his head. His fingers dug into Eagle King's skull and fiercely smashed him back onto the ground. Bang! Eagle King's body heavily smashed there, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He was directly knocked unconscious by Li Fan. Next, Li Fan threw Eagle King to the side. Just this level. It's not even enough to warm up. This guy is too arrogant. Let the stronger experts go up. Defeat him. The elders all roared, while Li Fan dug his ears. Is there anyone else? If there's no one else, I can leave. My time is very precious. You brat, you are too arrogant. The great elder could not help but speak. This is the Dragon Hall. It is not up to you to be impudent. Dongyi? Yes. Dongyi nodded his head and extended his hand. Fei Long, it's been hard on you. All right. A quiet man walked out. This brother was 1.8 meters tall, and his legs took up more than half of his height. The moment Li Fan saw him, he knew that this person was a natural master of leg techniques. His 2 legs were strong and long, and they looked like good legs. Li Fan suspected that there was something wrong with his sexual orientation to actually be interested in a man's leg. Please enlighten me. Fei Long was more taciturn. After he came up, he immediately lifted one of his legs and stared at Li Fan, not in a hurry to make a move. He was an expert, observing Li Fan first, and not in a hurry to attack. He was not in a hurry, and neither was Li Fan. He walked to the side of the fighting field and picked up an unopened bottle of champagne and a glass from the great elder's table. With a bang, the champagne was opened. Li Fan sat on the ground, poured himself a glass of champagne, and took a sip. Not bad, not bad. The people here have good taste. The person is bad, but the wine is fragrant. Li Fan commented. The great elder was so angry that his nose almost went crooked. They were saving this champagne to drink when they got rid of Li Fan and celebrated their success. In the end, now, it had benefited this brat, Li Fan, for nothing. The most important thing was that this guy didn't appreciate it after drinking it, and even scolded the owner of the wine again. There was no justice in the world. Fei Long looked at Li Fan, who was sitting on the ground drinking, and frowned slightly. "The competition is sacred," he said slowly. "Yeah, it's sacred. I didn't pee or shit." Li Fan nodded seriously. "What's wrong? Can't we drink during the competition? Isn't there the drunken fist? You can fight while drinking. I don't have a wine gourd, so I can only make do with this wine cup. Aya, you can't blame me for this." If you want to blame something, blame the facilities here are too imperfect. You let the guests drink to their heart's content. Fei Long was speechless, feeling that this Li Fan was a bit shameless. "Fei Long, what are you waiting for? Go. Kick him to death. Use your stormy kick." The elders shouted one after another, urging Fei Long. Fei Long had no choice but to bounce his feet, and his whole body quickly approached Li Fan. He suddenly kicked out toward Li Fan. Pa! The champagne in Li Fan's hand was broken. He held the glass and jumped back, dodging Fei Long's next kick. "What a pity," Li Fan sighed. "Fortunately, there's still a little left. I can't waste it." With that, Li Fan lifted the glass and sent it to his mouth. Fei Long kicked out with lightning speed, straight for the glass in Li Fan's hand. But Li Fan extended his hand, pressing down on Fei Long's leg. "Good wine." Li Fan smacked his lips, still wanting to continue. "What a pity. There's only a little left. Don't you think it's a waste?" Fei Long did not reply to Li Fan and immediately turned around to kick. Li Fan felt that the kick was not weak, and even with crane hand, he was unable to dodge it. He immediately retreated and at the same time used the wine glass as a hidden weapon and threw it at Fei Long. Pa! Fei Long swung his leg, and the wine glass was broken. And Li Fan took this opportunity, lowered his body, and like a ferocious tiger out of the cage, he appeared in front of Fei Long, and used both hands to grab at Fei Long's body. But Fei Long raised his hands and slapped away Li Fan's tiger claws. Li Fan was a little surprised. So powerful. This person is a true master of leg technique. There is a good saying, hands are two doors, and all rely on the feet to kick people. Those who I usually encounter who play with legs rarely have this kind of awareness. However, except for this Fei Long, he is good at playing with legs. That sounded a little weird. Li Fan attacked a few more times, but was slapped away by Fei Long's hand. Looking at Li Fan's gap, Fei Long kicked high again, but Li Fan dodged it. "Haha, good." Li Fan could not help but laugh. "Then let's play." With that, Li Fan entered the double state of Immortal Shun and Lightning Deer. Fei Long kicked him again, as fast as lightning. Li Fan used Crane Hand and slapped Fei Long's foot to the side. At the same time, he chased up and used Rushing Thunder Kick and kicked Fei Long's face. Fei Long also stretched out his hand and tried to slap Li Fan's foot away. But Li Fan's foot not only has true chi, but also electricity. Fei Long stretched out his hand, and his hand immediately became numb from the electricity. But Fei Long swung his hand and kicked again, and was slapped away by Li Fan. The two people, back and forth, exchanged 7 or 8 moves with each other. "Fei Long, what the hell are you doing? Outrageous, are you throwing the game?" The surrounding elders were dissatisfied, wishing they could personally pinch Li Fan to death, but unfortunately, they don't have the strength to do so. Fei Long's brows wrinkled even deeper. He suddenly kicked Li Fan's hand, and then jumped back more than 3 meters away, readjusted his posture, and looked at the opposite Li Fan. "Your skill is good." Fei Long cautiously looked at Li Fan, seemingly looking for a flaw in Li Fan. "Come, let's continue playing." Li Fan hooked his finger at Fei Long, but Fei Long did not rush forward. Instead, he calmed down and said, "I use my full strength." As Fei Long spoke, his body suddenly began to release an intense blue and white radiance. Following that, he put on a blue and white true chi coat that seems to be slowly burning, and his aura changed greatly, causing Li Fan to feel the pressure. What the? Condensing chi. Li Fan swallowed his saliva. This guy also knows this move. And looking at his appearance, it is clearly much easier than Chen Jialua. An expert. Li Fan carefully stared at Fei Long, wanting to know what move he will use next. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.